What's all the Omnifuss about then?
Hello. This is the question on everyone's lips. What is on the Omnifuss about? And me and Martin have done this quite a few times and still have worked it out. But we've enlisted Chris from off my shelves to join in the chat and let's see if we're any wiser come the end of the show. I am a few minutes late. We are a few minutes late because we were just chatting off just about stealing sweets from Tesco's, and Chris we hear is the most wanted guy in North Wales.
South Wales.
South Wales. Yeah. We're just joking. Well, unless I don't want to incriminate Chris anymore any further than he has himself.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to risk incriminating myself more than what you've already incriminated me. So I'm.
But my what's the word? My testimony won't. They'll tear holes right through it anyway, so it's grand. So yes, we are back this month, Chris. It's actually been quite a while since you've done a live stream of any sort of anybody. I know Highland G would do live streams. He hasn't done his in a while, and I can't think anyone else would have live streams. But yeah, you kind of take a bit of a break from YouTube, a bit of time in between some videos and stuff.
I took a long break. I think I didn't really make a video, like actually make some released after, I think. But about March, I think, was the last time I probably made one up until like the other week. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just took a break. And I don't tend to like doing lives anyway, because I don't mind doing lives. But after they finish, I'm like, oh, that was terrible. That was this. Because I think I enjoy having like a video that I can do. Because I enjoy making videos, but then when I'm editing it, I can look at it after and go, "Oh, I wasn't too much of a dick." With live, it's kind of like, "Oh, was I?" And it's on someone else's channel as well, so I can't even edit it. And I'm like, "Oh God."
Yeah, well, I mean, me and Martin, we're live and have been live, quite a lot over the years, and we're constantly making dicks of ourselves. And
I know.
Martin, it's good to be back. Have we had a full month of reading this month? Because I know you and I are very similar in that we kind of struggle to get some reads completed.
Like yourself, mate, I've been working a lot of hours. I've been putting like 13-hour days at the moment. So my reading time has gone down to nothing. So I've got something that I've read recently, but I'm still working my way through a 12-issue series, taking like a month and a half now. It's ridiculous. I've got a week off. I'm off next week, so I'm planning on getting some reading done. That is the goal.
It's this is the thing. Like it's bank holiday weekend. It is bank holiday where you guys live. Yeah. Bank holiday weekend. It's Saturday night, 8 p.m. And do you know something? I am busted. I am knackered. Like if I wasn't doing this, I would just be on the sofa, like doom scrolling on my phone. I wouldn't be reading my book just because, like, I feel like I don't have the energy to read and take stuff in. That's where I'm at. Maybe I'm just too old. But that's not a reason why my reading
is coming as something when you can't read a book with pictures, isn't it? It's kind of,
I used to read novels quite a lot, and then I stopped reading for a while, and I remember thinking to myself, I need to do something for my brain. I need to read something. And a guy in work suggested graphic novels. He says, listen, they're a wee bit easier, you can go through them quicker and all the rest. And that's true. But now I'm like, I've regressed that much that they're even too hard at times, It's like
if you keep going, you're gonna see street signs and go, fuck it.
That's too much. I can't consume it.
Roundabout, I don't care.
I'll just have to go back to reading cereal boxes on the toilet or something.
You'll end up in the ladies' toilets. You'll end up in the ladies' toilets and all these things.
With cereal boxes?
No, you'll end up in the ladies'
toilets. Oh, yes, I get you now. Yeah. My reading's poor. And obviously my listening's not very good either.
Yeah. Back at Tesco's again. Yeah. Cereal boxes and ladies' toilets. You're in trouble for that.
We'll say no more. Joining us so far, Stays here, and Ethan lads, and Andy. How you do, peeps? Bit in and out of the stream tonight, but hope it's a good show. Good to see Chris again. It's been a while and always a good guest. Yeah, sometimes he can be. Sometimes he is.
Thanks. I'll take that.
Phil's is here. Book of Wins. You three are the proper readers. I'm a lowly, floppy chap. Aren't we all at a certain age? And don't kick me out. Me and Fuzzy do share a lot in common, actually. We read a lot.
We embrace floppies. We embrace floppies.
Don't discriminate.
Yeah, we don't. But
Never.
he is a massive Scotty Young fan, as am I. And Scotty Young has been knocking some amazing covers out of the park recently. And I'm a very jealous man.
That Predator one was
Yeah, this is-
lovely.
Have you seen the
That was
Frankenstein? The Frankenstein.
I have,
one?
but the Predator one, I think because he added that addition of the color scheme being the,
Infrared
I just
or
think that
whatever.
was such a good touch, like, and I really just because even though you can't see all the details, it's still recognizably Scotty Young, even under all that effect. It's mad.
Yeah, no, Scotty, and that's the thing. A lot of years ago, Scotty Young he wanted to move away from being known as those baby Marvel covers, but now he just like, every week there's a new Scotty Young variant out, and like, I suppose he's making good money for it. So why would you stop?
And the thing is, his covers that are not these baby Marvel ones, they're actually stunning.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
some of his older work, you know, I don't mind the little chibi characters either. There's no issue with them, but he's a good artist. Very unique style.
Really
As I
good.
said, the Frankenstein one, it's due to come out, I think, sometime maybe next month or certainly in a month. Well, a month or two ahead. I'm not sure when it is. It's only available on his website, which is kind of annoying because he doesn't deliver to the UK. I know there's ways and means to get books from the US to here, but I mean, I'd rather just pay the £3.90 at a comic book store rather than whatever it's going to be for delivery. So,
I have the
maybe I'll
same
get it
issue.
somehow.
I have the same issue with like Stan Sky's website doesn't do international shipping, and again, you have to use those people that you get like an address there, and they'll post it out to you and all that stuff. And the cost is mental for like a £10 book max in every sense of the word, and you're just like paying like 30-40 quid, and you're like, that's not worth it.
Fuzzy's just confirming that he now delivers directly to us, so that's I need to look
Personally as well.
Yeah.
Personally as well.
Oh,
Does he?
Yeah.
I'll do a big order.
Open the door.
It's just, no, imagine that was the case. Like surprised like 1 in every 100 buyers of his comic book to show up at their door.
I will check that out because I would love a Scotty Young signed book. I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think he does. I could be wrong. I think he sells them at 9.8s too, possibly on the site, but I need to double check that. And obviously because you slab.
Yep.
You like your
Just people
slabs.
that slab.
Alan is here, and evening all. As is Rich from Comics versus the World, and as I just said, Marvel won't let Scotty Young go. He's currently in the basement of Marvel, just producing cover after cover. And this is the thing, like there's a Spider-Man arc coming end of the year called the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, which I'm assuming is 8 issues long, and Scotty Young has 8 variant covers for that. So I'll get all them.
Would he do Escape from the Dungeon for a week and produce one Batman cover?
Has he ever done Batman?
He has
He's
done
done,
Batman. Yeah, he has.
Batman
I copied a Batman cover he did actually when I was drawing during lockdown, and I put it up on my wall. I made like a copy of it. So yeah, he has done one.
You made like you just traced it.
No, I didn't just. I had it up on my laptop, and I was teaching myself how to draw, so I was using him to learn from. Like,
Nice. I could just see Chris just get his wee sketching paper and doing you can do like heavy pencil and you turn it around, you lean on it again, it transfers onto the paper.
I was legit.
Oh, actually, I do remember this Batman Off-World. I do recall this. I wonder if I have it. I can't remember. Was that also a website exclusive? I bet it was. I bet I've missed it.
Only for his cover. He's with the website exclusive.
Oh, yeah.
I tried hunting it down, but couldn't get it.
Indie Comics Corner. Howdy, fellas. Hope you're all well. I'm well. Well as can be. Yeah, as you two, I hope. We were just discussing off air how like having a comic book hobby, but then it's comic book buying hobby, not just a reading hobby, because I don't read.
Habit.
Yeah, that's the one.
Habit.
It's just I've now taken a second job delivering for Every at the weekends.
That makes you sound so bad, by the way.
Yeah.
My addiction has got so bad that I had to take a second job out because my kids are literally dying.
You're starving. And we're going to hit a harsh winter and I need to put heat in the house.
You're like, Daddy, when are we going to get food? Shut up, I need another Scotty Young variant, you little bitch.
dear. And this is the thing, it's just I have to do it because I think comic books are expensive, and I need to put food on the table at the same time. But what I can say is that the people I deliver for with Every, they've never had a more satisfactory service from any other Every driver. They get the best. People are demanding I deliver their run on that day. Because I don't just toss it about, and I don't, I actually make the effort to actually wait for them to come to the door. They don't just because my Every driver just leaves at the door and buggers off. I wait till they come to the door because I want to hand them the parcel with a smile on my face.
If they don't come to the door, do you ever just leave it on the doorstep?
Oh, I do, yes.
Well, you're as bad as the rest.
No, but this is the reason. So literally, the first week I've done this. I've only been doing it a month or so, a month and a half or so. The first day I done this, I went to the door, and I could see through the front room or the second room. It was a dining table, and the woman was sitting at the dining table, wasn't eating, just sitting on her phone or doing something. And I rapped the door. She didn't come to the door. I rapped the door. She didn't come to the door. I leaned over, rapped the door, looked at her. She still didn't come to the door. So I just thought, you ignorant. So then I just left it there, and that ruined my experience as an Every driver. I've since carried that on. The buggers.
I'm surprised you didn't bang on the window. I've got you. Impossible.
Yeah. I would have banged on the window. Given it.
Yeah, but I do have a 5-star rating so far. Long may that continue.
Yeah.
Elan Reese, is that pronounced that? Feed them Batman Year 2.
Yeah. That's the only use you're going to get out of that book, in fairness. It really is.
Oh, right, yes. I was confused there. Like, yeah, feed them. That's all it's for.
Yeah.
Hungry, you need food? Here's Batman Year 2. Do you know I've never read that? I've never... I don't want...
Honestly, Omar loves it, and I think it's just rose-tinted spectacles. But I haven't met anyone else that loves it. Like, I spoke to him, and he said lots of times on his live streams and stuff like that he loves it, but I've never met anyone else.
I've got it as a completionist, but I haven't read it. It'll probably be something I read once, cry over, and put back on the shelf.
It's awful.
Is it Frank Miller?
No.
Is it not?
No, not Year 2. No.
See, with The Dark Knight, for example, I've never read The Dark Knight. What's the
Strikes
sequel?
Again.
Strikes. I've never read that, and I don't want to ever read that.
Yeah.
Because The Dark Knight, because I hear bad things about it, and also I love The Dark Knight Returns. And the reason I haven't bought the Absolute Edition is because it contains that, and I really wish it didn't. I don't want to taint the Absolute Editions with this story that no one likes.
Yeah, same as me. It's like double the length of Dark Knight Returns as well, and so you buy in the Absolute, and like 70% of that book is something that you dislike, or that you've never read and you've heard terrible things about it for you. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
That's the thing. It wouldn't sit well with me, the fact that, like, say 70% of that book, and it's like 50. You get around £50 roughly, give or take. And it's like I only want to pay 20 for it because that's all it's worth in my mind. I'm only reading the 20-30% off it or whatever. But yeah, that's what can be helped. Usually to get us started, get the conversation to flow nicely, kind of bring your kind of reads or recent reads that you could recommend to us. Chris, I know you have been demolishing your TBR.
Trying to, yeah. That's one thing. I did stop making videos, but I kept reading, so that was one good thing.
Yes.
How recent do we want to go? Do we want to go for the entire year?
No, because I think people should go to your videos and watch them all. But by all means, go as many as you can, as many as you want. I only have the one because I don't read a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to admit, I do like hearing Chris's reads because Chris doesn't always read your run-of-the-mill stuff. You do, for my taste, you go a bit obscure. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing what's on your...
No, I do. And it's weird how it kind of like, I don't know how it works sometimes. Sometimes I just kind of stumble across stuff and pick it up, and then it's always a smattering of what's been advertised and what's in the kind of zeitgeist that I picked up that everyone's picking up. But then there's other things that you kind of just find your way through. And then, but I always find it mad. Oh, everybody does that, really, but no one seems to kind of like pick you a random book almost. Like it's like a group of people and they'll pick a random book, they'll pick a random book, and you'll pick a random book, and the random book is never the same. It's the only one that's always the same is kind of that one that everybody's going to pick that up, everybody's going to get on that, But I've been revisiting Jonathan Hickman's Avengers as well, mainly as well. I've been reading loads of that, so I'm nearly done with that, nearly on Secret Wars, just because I wanted to read that way more than anything else at the moment. I wanted to revisit it, and I really love Jonathan Hickman's Avengers. I think it's the best thing he's written. Maybe Fantastic Four a little bit is run on that.
Let me ask, are they not linked in some sort of way?
They are linked. They are linked. Yeah, his Avengers run, particularly the new Avengers and Secret Wars, is very linked. But if you didn't read it all, you would never miss anything, really. You only get a benefit from it if you've read everything. But yeah, I'm loving that at the moment. It's so Jonathan Hickman, we talked about it years ago, I think, Phil, because you said to me, I feel like I'm stupid because I'm not enjoying it, or I don't want what you said. What you said?
There's some Jonathan Hickman books that, like, for example, the X-Men run, he would obviously have the comic and the sequential kind of storytelling and art, but then he would have like a long-winded kind of how would you call it, just like an extract or something of it, like a diary entry. But it was just like you had to really think about it. Like, I'm talking about like when I read novels before, then dumbed down to comics. Now I'm dumbed down to comics, but I'm still having to go up a little bit to read Jonathan Hickman.
I think the Avengers run and his Fantastic Four run caught him at a time where he wasn't like prone to fill in a lot of the gaps with his graphic design and more prose in between. Like he did quite a lot with X-Men. If you read the X-Men run, he kind of just plonked a load of prose and exposition in kind of these nicely graphically designed pages. It wasn't too much of that in Avengers. It was, what I liked about Avengers more than anything is that it was just, it kind of had all this madness of kind of a Grant Morrison-esque run, but equally it was quite action-packed and quite quick-paced. And yeah, you get confused about who's who because the cast is gigantic and you might not fully understand this, but it kind of doesn't matter unless you let it matter. If you're one of these people who are like, right, why is that there? Why is this there? It's going to annoy the shit out of you. But if you just kind of go along for the ride, it's quite a nice read. And so I've been plowing my way through that mainly. I've also been reading Search and Destroy, which is a new version of Dororo, which is an Osamu Tezuka manga. Dororo was a story that a young child was given up by their father and sacrificed by their father to get him more power, and he sacrificed all his son, and like loads of demons took various body parts for themselves, so they took everything and just left like this husk of a human, which was found by a man who nurtured him and taught him how to live some semblance of life. And then later on, when he became a slightly grown up, he had like, prosthetic limbs and stuff like that. And he went out killing these demons and getting his body parts back. So that was Osamu Tezuka's story of it. Well, a guy, or Kaneko, I think his surname was, he's reinvented that story and come back to it and kind of put it in almost like a post-apocalyptic kind of cyberpunk world. And so instead of demons now, I knew this is the only reason I mentioned it, because I knew I knew Martin would be like straight on the ball. Yeah,
that's singing my tune.
Yeah, but basically it's the same kind of premise, but instead of demons, it's these robots that they call creatures. So it's these kind of weird robots, and they talk about a civil war in previous years where the creatures and the humans were battling. And now, for some reason, and we don't know quite why yet in the booklet, the person, the main character, had 48 of its body parts taken out and removed and given to various creatures. And so she's going around killing these creatures and claiming a body part. And so the opening pages of the book is her going into, a new city, this post-apocalyptic kind of city, and having a fight with this robot and taking her tongue back out of his mouth, and then literally getting her tongue stitched back in. So even the kind of demonic things, like in Osamu Tezuka's book, he'd kill them and then miraculously he'd get an arm back or he'd get his eyes back. But in this, the main character, the girl of the main character, in this, she has to kind of graft the body parts back onto her kind of skeleton and body and stuff. And it's really good. I'll show you now. I'll grab it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, because when he said that, you're like, straight away, I'm having.
Yeah. I just love Cyberpunk. I think it's so good. I mean, as an art style alone, it's amazing.
It's a tiny book. It's only small. There's only going to be 3 of them, as far as I know. And yeah, and basically, it kind of. Can you see it? It is a lot. It is actually really funny because the robots are like quite freaky. And yeah, this is really similar to. Have I read Atom, Chris? Yeah, it's. I haven't read Atom, a follow-up to Pluto. Actually, I haven't read that.
Oh.
Let
me side down, Chris.
I'll have to have a look into that. Believe me, get into this bit now and show you.
Do love a bite.
So it's kind of almost like got this kind of Russian style about it as well. This kind of communist Russia type art and architecture about it. Let me find a nice page where there's robots and stuff going on. So yeah, loads of nice killing, super violent book, which is great.
Yeah.
And like this is the main character here. You see that?
Yeah.
And she got swords on her arms and stuff like that. And she goes around killing all these robots and stuff like that. It's really good. It is a super fast read. Like, I think you'd probably pick this book up for about like what, 10 maybe or something like that.
What's this called?
It's called Search and Destroy.
Search and Destroy.
By Fantagraphics. But it is really fun. I really liked it a lot. Like, and again, the fact that it's kind of taken that old story that I really enjoyed by Tezuka and kind of really reinvigorated it and made it fresh and new is really good. And you get a bit of backstory and a bit of future, what's coming up in the future and all that. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. But again, it's full action packed and all that.
And you say is it a follow up from a previous story?
No, this is basically a reinvention of the original. So it says at the top, like based on Dororo by Osamu Tezuka. And so it's taken that idea of some kind of maniacal figures taking away the body parts of a person and using them for something else and leaving that person. And then that revenge story of that person trying to get it back. So it's taken that and given it like a futuristic slant and really changed it. But if it keeps going the way it's going, it may well kind of be better in many ways than the original. But I really love the original because a lot of Tezuka's work is quite hard for modern readers, I think, because it's quite, I don't know, some of the artwork is lush, but the writing is kind of dated in places, I think.
Do you find, this is the general manga kind of question, do you find like whenever they're translated, like, some generally don't translate in English too well in terms of...
Not now, but yeah, older stories, definitely. Because I think now modern kind of mangakas and writers have that idea that it is going to be translated into Chinese, into French, into English and all these other languages. So
they're aware of it now.
Yeah, I think so. More than anything is that the translations are better by far, because before the translators were not much better than what Google Translate would be, to be fair. Now they're very good because I think you kind of get what you pay for, really. I think some companies are just cutting corners sometimes.
Because I love reading manga at the moment. I do agree with you. The translations, I've had no issues. Like, I've been burning through Ultraman. I love the Ultraman series. It's just such a quick read. The art is great in it, and I think it's perfect black and white art style with most mangas. It's just, it's amazing. I can see why it's so much hype on manga.
this wasn't planned. I wasn't planned showing these, but I went into a charity shop or a thrift store for the American viewers, and I thought I got the bargain of all bargains for 50p each. I picked up. Let's just see. Kaiju number 8, number 1.
All right.
Kaiju number 8, book 2, and Kaiju number 8, book 3. That's just the M3 for that, but for 50 pence each.
50 pence each.
What?
Yeah, can't go wrong.
No.
And then a whole bunch of other ones that I might sell on eBay because they're not like complete collections, or they're not even like, I don't know what this is. Toilet bound Hanako Kun. Never heard of it in my life.
I've heard of that.
So I got that. That's volume 1, and I got volume 2, and then some other kind of special after school Hanako Kun. Apologies if I'm butchering these.
I do it all the time. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, you do. Oh yeah, there's another toilet bound something or number 15 again. So they're not in order as such, but then these ones like solo leveling. Do you hear of it?
It looks cool.
Yeah. Again, it's number 7. I'm gonna sell it because I don't have 1 to 6, but like I just thought for 50p, I'm gonna grab it and I'll sell it on for a few quid or flip them, as people say.
Well, that's the thing. You think about it. You pay 50p for a couple of volumes, and let's be honest, £1.50 on a punt on a sort of little series that exactly. If it's good, you carry on. If not, it's £1.50.
Well, that's the thing with Kaiju, because I've had this conversation with Chris before in the past. If he remembers, like I get bogged down with manga a little bit, and it's like Finland Saga, for example. Whenever they were doing, was it Finland Saga? They hadn't translated that many books, so I thought I'll jump on book number 1. Then of course they're now at like book 14 or 15 or something. Like, they might have actually been completed, those smaller hardcovers.
They haven't yet.
Well, I've now jumped on the deluxes, so I'll grab them instead. But I just find like whenever they're quite quick to get them out, and I don't read that fast, and then if there's too many, I get bogged down a little bit.
Keep in mind though, the only reason that some manga series are like that is because they've already on like they're already on like volume 10 in Japan, and so they basically are bulk translating them and then like having like one released every 3 or 4 months. And so like a lot of the series, like Vinland Saga, started off bang 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 bang, but then it got to like I think about volume 9 or 10, and then it started to be in sync with the Japanese releases, so started to kind of slow down. And I think in Japan now they're only like 2 volumes ahead of us, really. And considering the small hardbacks contain 2 volumes in each, that's 1 volume ahead. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. And that's the other thing, is sometimes they bring them out in collected editions over here, which they didn't over there, and so you get them even quicker again.
And this is the thing too, because with the deluxe, I bought the first one again with the intention to read it as soon as I could, and then I looked at it recently, and like the book 4's out in September. I'm like,
book 4's out 2 weeks.
I'm just like, I haven't even read the first one, so I didn't want to buy them. I wanted to read the first one before I decided to pick the rest of them up. But there's another story about that. I'll tell you that shortly. I just need to get my finger out, to be honest, and because Chris, you'll know that manga is quicker than you think. There's a lot of volumes, but they're not.
Yeah,
they don't seem too hard to go through. What I will say, I did start reading Kaiju number 8, and I'm definitely struggling with the order of things go. No, you're obviously reading back to front, so to speak.
I so bizarrely. I think sometimes, I think it does genuinely tie down to your personality and how you read as well. I think some people struggle more than others, because I found it quite straightforward. I was like, as soon as I was introduced, right, it's that way, I'm like, okay, and I was fine.
I am the same, to the point where like, okay, so I'm just doing it in reverse of how you would normally read a book. But there were some times I was going through it, and I kind of, maybe I'm not paying attention to the panel layout. I was reading this one before this one, and I was just like, it didn't make any sense. I had to read it again to understand what it actually meant. And I just think I need to get used to it. I think it's just something I need to.
Yeah, you're falling
more.
into that relaxing state where you're going back to the other direction, which is nice.
Yeah, it's maybe it's like the left side of my brain isn't as smart and as strong as the right side, or whatever. It's just, I mean, maybe no sides are strong. Who knows?
I think once you've done it once you've got through one volume, I think it's like riding a bike after that. You know when you pick up the next one, you're already used to that pattern now. Yeah. I felt like it with Ultraman. I felt like I was really taking my time on the artwork, trying to get used to that reading the other way. And then once I finished that first one, it was very, very natural, just straight away through. It's like burning through the books, because it's easy. It's weird going back though when you're going left.
I was going to ask that question. If you were to say read, say like Demon Slayer, which is like 30 something books, or whatever it is,
24.
Is it 20? Say you read all that and then you went back to reading Jonathan Hickman. Would it be just as strange, or is this just
keep in mind you'd read all that in 3 days, easy? Now I'm not no exaggeration, no kidding, 100%.
Takes you 3 days, probably 4 or 5
Took
years.
me, I think, a week totally with working and life in general as well. But if I was off, it'd be a 3-day read easy. It's action-based comics, and so it's a lot of just you following, like it'll have the Japanese comics like Demon Slayer and like Death Note and a few others have these massive chunks where they like outline the rules of the world that they're in, and you read that and get to grips with it, and then they go, right, that, let's start fighting, and then they just fight for fucking ages.
Death Note's another one looks really good. It's something I want to check out at some point. Definitely.
That it is the most convoluted plot in the entire world, though. It is so hard to follow in some places.
That's me ruled out then.
You'll like Demon Slayer though. That's a good book.
Yeah, I'm going to start watching the anime. I think it's on Netflix.
It is. It's nice
because I've been during my work when I'm working here at home. I have Talk Sport on. I know for my sins, I've Talk Sport on in the background on YouTube, and every advert they have is the anime for Demon Slayer.
Really? Yeah.
So it's worked. It's like it's programmed into my brain. I really want to watch this because it looks fantastic. So it's on my list to get. Then it's one of those ones. Should I read the books first or not? But I'm just going to dive into the anime and then maybe do the books after. Let me just get caught up in some of the comments here because if I get lost or I'm behind, we are sniggered. Indie Comics Corner, who I think had to go. Apologies if I missed saying goodbye. He does find Hickman to be frequent recommendation to his friends and family, but I always have to give some sort of preamble about sticking with it and it'll pay off. But that's the thing.
Honestly, it's so true. It really is.
But I jumped on X-Men at the Krakoa era whenever Hickman was in charge, and I was all on board. I thought the stuff he was doing was really good. I didn't read every book, every kind of spin-off series. But then I think there was something on the lines where Hickman wanted to get the ball rolling to finalize this whole story, and they didn't want to. They wanted to continue on, and he's like, "That's fine. Well, I'm done." But I get the idea that you should have give him like the start, middle, and the end of this whole concept. And I think overall it would have been better for it because X-Men kind of. How to put it? It just
Hickman is kind of one of these writers. It's like wrestling at the moment. Wrestling is massively talking at the moment about these long form stories. They're all the little bits really matter. So that little bit, that kick out or that missed pin, they will play into action sometime. And it might be like 6 months, 3 months, 2 years, whatever. It'll come back. And Hickman's like, like in the Avengers, Captain America and Iron Man have this kind of issue. And then it's not revisited it's got to be like about 30 or 40 issues. And then it comes back in and they have this kind of fight over it. And then other elements are brought in. And it's just, you really have to pay attention to a lot of Hickman's work. But if you do and you enjoy it, then it really rewards you massively. I think it doesn't reward the casual readers at all, which is probably why a lot of the X-Men kind of team were, against him doing some work and things like that, because he had created a beast there. Like Avengers was over like 2 different issues, and like with events coming in. Fantastic Four was, I think, one run over a long time, which dipped into events. X-Men was like, what? It must have been like 4 comics that he was specifically writing, and then he was like guiding so many others as well. That's just mind blowing, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. He had the main X-Men book, and then Benjamin Percy was on like Wolverine and X-Force, and I think he was very much following what also Hickman wanted to do. But all the other kind of books, were doing their own thing, and then there seemed to be an event after an event. There was Axe of Swords. There was what do you call the other thing they do every year? The gala. What's it called again? Sorry,
Hellfire.
and then they had other things, and it just felt like it's getting a bit too much. And then I think he wanted to wrap it all up, and they were all told, no, we're making good money here. Let's keep this going. So that's fine. He's worked away, but I will
Conceptually, I really like the X-Men. I like the idea of this kind of new iteration of Professor X. I like the idea of Krakoa being this haven. I like the idea of them being a really powerful world player all of a sudden in this world. I loved all that, but the execution just fell flat in a lot of it for me. And it got a bit too confused and a bit too into its own head.
Yeah, but I think every X-Men book's probably done that to some extent, because there's so much stuff that does go on. Indie Comics Corner also adds his work often needs the reader to just kind of go with stuff until it makes sense. Kind of what you're saying.
And again, 100% agree with that. In fact, we probably should have just read his 2 comments instead of listening to me for like half hour. Because that made much more sense.
Adam Comic Brown, evening guys. Sorry I can't stay, but I wanted to drop by and say hi. I'll try and come back later if I can. I am keen to see what all the Omnifuss is about. Adam, this is the second month I tried to get him, and he's just a busy man. He's the busiest man I know. But he has promised. He's
an enigma, is what he is.
Yeah, he has promised he's going to come on at some point. But I think I need to do better and like organize it, and schedule well in advance.
You need to get some sort of fanfare for him as well. Like there's some build up, because I think his return to this platform needs that. It needs fanfare.
But then I would worry the promotion, the promotion, so to speak, would maybe. What if he didn't show? I'm not saying he wouldn't, Adam. I'm sure.
You just let him go.
Yeah.
Just turn your screen off. We just want Adam.
Thanks. Also, you got a few wrestling references in there, Chris. It's like you can tell you're Cody Rhodes and the Bloodline fan, because they are all long form storytelling.
I'm Roman Reigns over Cody, though. I love Roman. I do love Roman.
The Bloodline stuff's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. I love the fact that CM Punk is back as well. It's great.
Yeah. Fuzzy saying, I'm one of them narrow-minded comic readers. You're not. No one is. That say I don't do manga, anime, blah blah. In truth, I've never actually tried to give it any chance. The sheer number of volumes intimidates me, and it does. As I've said before, it does with me as well. The numbers is scary, but again, Chris probably now a dozen times or so has told me that they are quite quick to get through, and they should.
And you just got to jump in. Like I think my first proper one was Akira, and I just went right. I'm just going to read this because I loved the movie. I love the idea of it. I'm just going to read it, and I read it, and I was like, this is one of the best things I've ever read. And then I was like, shit in hell, there's loads of these things over there. I'm going to buy more of them. And so I think you just got to jump in and see if you like anything.
You've got to find something that really attracts you to it. See, like for me, it was Hellsing. Hellsing dragged me to manga because I saw the anime, loved the anime, I had to read the book as well to see if I was missing anything. And after that, I think if you're engaged in what you're reading and you like that arc, the story, then you'll be fine. And then you know that manga is going to be okay for a read. Then you're not scared to dive into other things.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll find. I do think Finland Saga is the one to get me in. Like I say, I've committed to 2 of the deluxe books, so that's I will do it. But like as Chris is demolishing his TBR, I'm demolishing mine. At least trying to. So that's one of the ones that's next on the list.
Trying.
Yeah, trying to. Yeah.
That's
Triple D Comics. That is the It's depressing. I'm trying to read my comics. It's like so bad. Triple D Comics. Do you need to have sexy facial hair to be on this show? Looking good, chaps. I don't know about
Yes.
sexy. We all have facial hair. Sexy.
No,
I don't know.
sexy. Embrace take the compliment. Say I have sexy facial hair.
I'm not saying it.
Say that. Be confident, my man. Come on.
I have sexual facial hair.
No, sexy,
Well,
not sexual facial.
All right,
I know
okay.
you
Well,
meant
there's
that.
I don't listen.
I
It's
can't
just-
believe you messed up.
Rich is saying I keep me into read or pick up more manga, but I just don't have the room for countless volumes. The only 2 manga series I own are stored in a box in the loft, and that's the other thing too. I watch a lot of like YouTube of like not just comic book people, but like booktubers, like read proper novels, and they all have massive manga collections. And they do seem to take up a lot of room. Chris, I know you've like every nook and cranny in your house almost has manga books somewhere. I look behind you on your kitchen table there. You got some manga books on there too. It's just
They're up for sale later.
no, are they?
Yeah, they're being sold. I just sold Vinland Saga actually.
Because you're updating to the deluxes, or you don't like it?
I've already updated to the deluxe, so
Oh, right.
I got 3 beautiful deluxes waiting right there. And I'm going to buy all 9. I think it would be 9.
I thought there were there's 6 solicited. I think.
No, by the end of the entire series, I think it'd be 9.
I'll move on to this here. While we're talking about it, because I have the first Finland Saga Deluxe. I picked up the 3rd, not the 2nd, the 3rd, because did you see Mad Dog put up the post? It was £25 on Amazon.
Yep,
recently.
Bought it straight away.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
I had 1 and 2 literally last week. I thought, right, I'm going to upgrade. I just want them. I love that series and I just want it. I'm sick of hurting myself by waiting. So I just bought 1 and 2 from Speedy Hen, and then Mad Dog literally like 2 days later shared that on his post on his Instagram, and I went like 3.
I was the same. I don't even have book 2. I thought, well, if I do commit and want to get that's a save, and I can't turn up, because even if I didn't like it, I could sell them on for that price or more. So it was a no-brainer. I'm waiting until 2 comes down in price, because 2's like around £40 mark the minute. So
34.
Is it?
Yeah, and if you go on SciFi and use the code off_my_shelf, you get 5% off your order.
I knew this was going to come up. This is going to come up. We're going to compete.
Don't use airwaves. Don't use airwaves.
I've
got 4 kids than these guys. I need food.
Just give them some comic books. But yes, you could use that
off
code
my
if you want, or use airwaves, whatever you want. Doesn't really matter.
Or not use airwaves and use off_my_shelves.
Oh, so it's
on whatever's quicker to type.
Yeah. No, not whatever's quicker to type.
Whatever you like better.
Yeah, well, obviously, that's going to be mine's going to be through the roof now, isn't it? So that's the competition.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because we are on like the Reddit groups. Are you on the Reddit groups, Chris, at all, for all these different bargains and like?
I'm so old. I can't be asked with all these different medias and social things.
I'm not too far away. Like I use them, but only because like I get the alerts if like Marvel books are on sale, and the guy who runs it, who I've talked to in the past on Facebook, Barath, I think his name is. I don't know if you've ever spoken to him, Chris. He obviously has his with Sci-Fi, but he must, if people are buying through this Reddit group and clicking on all his links, he must be doing well with it. I'll say that. Let me get back to some comments here. Fuzzy is saying Hickman is like the Christopher Nolan of writers. It's going to be technically impressive, might not be the most fun at times though, or so he thinks. But that's kind of what you're saying too. You get the payoff later on, just like most Christopher Nolan movies.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Do a Powerbomb? Yes, it's fantastic. So if you haven't, please go read it. And he's asking an impossible question: how many volumes of X-Men are there? A lot. And I think he's just comparing it to manga. Seems easier considering the artist and writer remain the same. that's the thing too with X-Men books. There's no point. Like, I mean, I've seen Omar from Name and Conditions reading lists. I think it's like 3 videos alone just to do X-Men, like from start to finish. So it's like, yeah, don't.
It's insane. This is why I gravitate to and I enjoy more the X-Men runs that are just a bit more contained. Like my favorite X-Men run is Grant Morrison's one, the new X-Men one. And again, you just pick that up in an omnibus and you're done. Do you know what I mean? You don't. It gives you everything you need. You need very little backstory on anything because X-Men is very much like Spider-Man and Batman nowadays. I find it's in the ether, and you don't need origin stories for most of them. Cyclops, he shoots stuff out of his eyes, move on. Wolverine, everyone knows who he is. So, it's all of that stuff is not really necessary. And I find a lot of the earlier X-Men volumes are so heavy in crafting these characters because they weren't crafted. It almost feels like I'm going back too far. Like I don't need to have that origin because it's already by osmosis being sucked into me by growing up in popular culture. And so I find it more difficult to get through all that. But that's going off on a tangent there.
Yeah, and we don't have time for that, Chris. Not in this show. I mean, this show we try and keep it a strict 2 hours, or hours. Sorry, I pronounce my R's quite funny.
We got you. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't apologise for your colloquialisms. That's it.
I just apologise for my own being, to be honest. No. Elena is saying, sort out your promo code, Chris.
No. Underscores.
Yeah, you could do 3 words of underscores, or you could do 1 word airwaves.
No.
And Triple D's come to Belfast. I battened down the hatches. It is close to me, Pete, but no doubt. If you're meeting up with the Northern Ireland crew, just give me a shout, and we will.
Well, Andy.
Andy, James, and Sean. But there's nowhere in Belfast that I know that does like banana chili shots or whatever you drink, whatever. So I'm okay with that.
You'd be happy with an ice cream shop. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true, and there's some good ones here.
Is this
Martin,
for the Northern Ireland Comic Con?
Yes, this is the Northern Ireland Comic Con, which I am no longer going to because everyone drops out. It's a shambles. There's still people. Don't get me wrong. There's still quite a few big names and people to be excited about. But I was excited for Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Ranger, coming. I had bought the recent series. Yes, that formed part of it. And I remember saying to Martin and Scott about this, like, should I say to her, like, whenever Power Rangers came out and I was 7 years old, like, you were my first crush. And I thought I can't do that to her. I wouldn't want to like hurt her feelings or like make her feel older than maybe what she is.
Well, I was a little older than you when I first saw it. I think only a smidge older. Like, what year were you born?
86.
Yeah. I was getting into the point where I wasn't like, crushing. I was like getting through some serious amount of tissues. I was like, I
was going to say, you're right, flipping, playing with your ham shank.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness me.
With that one.
Oh, it's a good thing we're not monetized, because this wouldn't matter then, wouldn't it? This kind of smut talk, but well done.
They paid that goal anyway, don't worry.
Oh, dear. Martin, save us. What have you read recently?
My reading is not as fascinating as Chris's. Is all I've read is the first half of DC versus Vampires. I've got the second one ready to go. This has been about a month in waiting now to read this. I love DC. I've always said I love DC universe and all the characters. And I think sometimes I like to step away and read something so out of continuity that you're just going to get, killing characters and weird scenarios and like Deceased, And I think that's what I wanted going into this. And so far it has delivered. I feel like I've got that Deceased vibe from it, where I'm seeing certain characters getting killed, and
who's the writer of that?
It is James Tynion.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. This is why I'm only starting with the original series first, because it's Tynion. It's only Rosenberg that takes over when it moves to the sequels.
Okay. Yeah. Because I remember when it came out in the single issues, and I wasn't interested because I thought, I don't know, where DC kind of cashing in this kind of Elseworld outrageous kind of storyline. but I've heard good things, so I think I'm going to have to check it out too. It's just the two hardcovers, volumes 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's only a 12-issue run. It's only a 12-issue run. And I think there's 2 little one-shots that go with it as well. But yeah, so far I'm halfway through. There's a little twist in the story that's quite interesting because there's like a new vampire lord that sort of took control, and then they're trying to do like world domination, and they end up getting to certain people, certain superheroes. And the main reason I love this story at the moment is because Green Arrow is one of the main characters, and he is sort of working alongside Batman, and they're just trying to find out what's going on. And there's people they don't expect that. I don't want to give anything away, but there's certain characters that are masquerading as who they normally are, but they're actually vampires. So then it's sort of the story builds up, and you get some deaths. You get some. I think I can't even say it. There's one death that is really, really important, and the reasoning for the death is so good, and it makes total sense. But I can't tell you because it's going to tell you.
Yeah, don't. This is the thing, because I had this. Well, it might have been yourself, was it, or was it maybe it was Highland G in the last stream, and we talked about Deceased and the fact that the book, it's a really good book, but like it's like a popcorn flick for like book form, so to speak. But like once you see the kind of dramatic deaths and things like that, there you know what's kind of coming. It's like if once you've read it once, that's you don't get the same impact. So it's like that's why you shouldn't spoil it, because I want to read it and not spoil it.
Totally agree, because I think when you're looking at Injustice, Injustice, for example, is such a big story. I like the fact that this is only 12 issues because it's not a story that I feel you could really make a series out of. It's perfect for a 12-issue run. Get to the point.
Yeah, sorry, just like you mentioned Green Arrow, and obviously we know you're a big Green Arrow fan. Have you read any of the new stuff recently? Because it's done by Jeremy Adams, isn't it?
It is on. It's on my to-read list. I have got the latest trade out because Joshua Williamson.
Oh, is it Williamson?
Did the first sort of couple of arcs. He's stepping off the book soon, and it's going to be the guy who wrote That Texas Blood.
Oh, Chris Condon.
Yeah, he's taken over from Williamson. So that's. I'm really interested to see what he does with it. But the Green Arrow is one of my favorite characters.
If anyone hasn't read That Texas Blood, by the way, please read it. It's fantastic. As is the kind of like spin-off, the Enfield Massacre. It's called. Yeah, it's all pretty good, to be honest. By Jacob Phillips as well. By Chris Condon, Jacob Phillips on art, who is Sean Phillips' offspring. So the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree because the art's just as good as Sean Phillips. Is that all you've read, Martin?
That's all I've read. As I say, I've
you've been working 30 hours a day, man. Leave a boy alone.
I've been working too many hours.
Read some, man.
I'm off next week, so I've said to the wife already, outside of what she wants to do while I'm off, reading is my main thing I want to get done before I go back to work. So I'm hoping to make a dent in my to-read pile.
Well, over here in Northern Ireland, we are in our last week of summer school holidays. Our kids are back next Wednesday. Strange, I think I'll have a lot more time, obviously, from next week, so I'm hoping to read a lot more myself. But this week, now we are at the end of August, but it feels like November. In fact, it is November because there's like the leaves are on the ground now. It is freezing. I don't know what it's like over in your neck of the woods, but we didn't do a lot this week just because the weather was stinking, and I actually managed to read some stuff. I'm actually read 2 books, which I'm quite happy about. But inspired by Chris with demolishing his TBR, I want to demolish my TBR, but also I want to go back and finish series. Because obviously when me and Martin, we done the Nerd Herd, we done the weekly read, like we'll read volume 1 of something, maybe volume 2 in our sequels month. But then you just wouldn't have the time to go back and read the entire series. So the first one I'm started with to get this cleared and out of the way is Lock and Key. So I reread Master Edition Book 1. I finished Book 2 just tonight, just before I came on. I've one more book to go. I know there's a spin-off series or like a prequel kind of series, which I don't have, which I don't think I'm going to get because I understand it's just like short stories in the one volume. But I'm okay. I just want the main bulk of the story. So anyone who hasn't read Lock and Key, I'm sure you guys have. I'm sure a lot of people here have. It's nothing like the TV show. In fact, I enjoyed the first season of the show, but it's nothing like the book at all, really, other than the fact that the characters' names are the same. And okay, it is somewhat like the book because it's the same kind of idea of the story, but not the same tone. What I will say about Master Edition Book 2, I didn't like it, strangely. and why are you laughing, Chris? Do you not like it either?
No, I love it. But when was the last time you read number 1?
A couple of days prior.
So you read number 1 and I went straight into number 2?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's usually how it works. 1, 2, you do number 1, then
No, because you read one ages ago.
Oh no! I read number 1. I've reread it again. Just there on Wednesday. But so book 1, you have the kind of main start of the storyline where the father gets murdered, and then you have the intrigue with the keys and Dodge trying to get all the keys and manipulating the kids to find the keys and so forth. And then go the bit in the future that Sam Lesser, the guy who killed the dad, comes back again, so to speak, and then attacks his family again. But book 2, I just found they're just flying through things. Now, they are introducing other characters, and there are other things now that we're kind of exploring within the family, so to speak. Like the mum, for example, there was a part in this book where someone asked her how she's feeling, and obviously throughout the whole story, she hasn't been involved apart from the first kind of scene where she was attacked and raped, essentially. But now she's like an alcoholic because she's drinking wine and whiskey every day, and no one's really asking her, like, are you okay? So we're getting to that point. The daughter, the name escapes me at the minute, seems to be the main kind of protagonist of this book. At least she seems to follow her a lot more. She's a lot more screen time, paper time, whatever you want to call it. But she's kind of removed her feelings and her fear. She took it out of her head. There was a key in her head, and she took all that out. But then it started to just fly through things. Like there was like a month of February where like a panel would be like February the 1st, February the 2nd, February and like all these different things would happen.
I loved that issue. There's an issue where they basically show like months and weeks of the family going through these keys, going through these adventures. And instead of dragging those stories out, they went the total opposite way and shoved it all in to one issue and one chapter of the book, essentially. And so it was like a chaotic mess of everything they were getting up to, like in one panel, maybe 2 at a push. But I thought that was really good because, again, imagine some of those stories may well have just been a bit crap, do you know what I mean? And so they've just gone, look, we want to stick to the main narrative here, but equally we want to get across that there is lots going on and they have been through a lot. So let's just, get this out. Let's show it quickly as like a montage and then move on with our lives. And so I was happy with it because it kind of took what might have been a very long series and condensed it. And I was fine with that.
I do. I kind of agree with what you're saying in that respect. But I can remember one of the panels had a full page spread or whatever, and the 3 characters, the 3 children, are like hung up by like some sort of like bush, like a vine, like with nettles, and then they've got swords and they're fighting them and stuff. And the next panel is just them telling their friends, "Oh, I got cut by a fork, or I got cut by this," or trying to explain why they got these scratches on their face, type of thing. And I get what you're saying, like, because that story about whatever happened to them might not be that good, and I could have had 4, 5, 6 pages of the book. The issue prior to that one, that was the one where Dodge had found the shadow key, and he had obviously summoned all the shadows back to kind of find all the keys to the house, and they attacked the 3 children, or the 3 kids. But then they then found the giant key, which is a great scene where he obviously opened the house and came out of the house as a big giant and fought the shadows. And then you had that issue where it just flew through the month of February. I just think, I wanted a bit more, I think. But in that issue too, there's still a lot of teeny drama with the daughter. I can't terribly remember names. There's Tyler's the oldest son. Bodie's the youngest son. Kenzie.
Kinsey or Kenzie, yeah.
Yeah. So she's got boyfriends, she's got friends, she's got all this kind of teeny drama stuff, which I don't find that really interesting. But it's maybe just kind of her showing her kind of cold heartedness and going through school, all the rest. That's fine. But I'm looking forward to book 3 because I want the story to be final because they're still kind of people like Duncan, for example, who's the uncle. He's still away. There's the police detective who was getting closer, but now he's removed his memory of him. So it's all going to come to head in this last volume. So I'm looking forward to it.
It is a really quick paced book though, and as much as you kind of felt like, it's a bit all over the shop in terms of pacing and stuff like that, it's doing that because it really is just plowing forward, but then equally wants that footprint of a bigger experience as well. Book 3 is just one long ending, so it's all the finale basically. Book 3 is,
but that might be what this is then in terms of like talking about the kind of messiness of book 2, where if you read it all as a complete story, it's like a Jonathan Hickman style, where like you get the payoff, and it's like, well, that middle book made sense because if we didn't have it that way, then we wouldn't get to where we are.
The middle book is definitely the one that had some of the best moments, like the Giant Key moment, for example, is amazing because you don't quite expect it. You think it's going to happen, and then it does happen, and you're like, that's awesome, and stuff like and there's lots of moments in it. But compared to book 1, because book 1 set up so much and had so much violence and scariness to it, book 2 feels very happy and like a bit laissez-faire, a bit like breezy. But book 3, then the big bad kind of gets a bit more messed up, I think.
Yeah, because there was an issue as well with book 2 that the art changed, intentionally changed. It wasn't like they changed the artist and like for any other reason. Like I think it was intentional, and it was like they found the animal key, where basically like Bodhi turned into like a bird, and Dodge turned into like a werewolf or something. But like the art became almost like Scotty Young-esque, that kind of kiddie kind of, and then changed back to something a bit darker, then changed again. I'm thinking, I just don't like this.
Yeah.
But I can get maybe for creative purposes, maybe why they had it in that way. But
I kind of read them like 1, 2, 3 back to back, really quite quickly. And 2 was definitely the weakest out of the lot, but that's kind of going to be it, because when you're introduced to that world and the intrigue, you want to know how it ends. So anything in between is going to either be ramping up and brilliant, or it's going to be a bit of an annoyance.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't, Runaway my favorite, like, because I think the third volume now, when you go into it, is really genuinely building up that kind of otherworldly nature, looking into those other realms that have been teased up to now, like, and just really delving deep. But for my money, Lock and Key 1, 2, and 3, and it's a done story. Do you know what I mean? It's really quick and easy, and it's got lots of good things about it. Definitely.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Martin, did you ever read Beyond Volume 2?
No, if I'm being honest with you, I cannot. Like, that's what happened. I'm listening to what you've been thinking, what on earth happened in the first one? It's been so long now, it's just completely gone out of my head.
See, this is the thing. So we read Volume 1 way back at the start of the Nerd Herd, and then we were on Volume 2. I think you were on board at this point, and then so I read Volume 1 and 2 again.
Same here.
And then I've read it again since. So I've read that third book 3 times. The first book 3 times. And when I read, so it's like top heavy, and I need to kind of read it all and go back and read it again, so to speak. But yeah, I was the same. I remember certain moments, like the attack on the mum and the dad at the start. I remember some of the scenes from it. But what actually happened in the first one, other than maybe finding a few keys, but even things like I missed, like it sounds daft. So Dodge she's in the well at the start, and she's a woman, and then she transitions to a boy. I was thinking that's strange. Well, she always a boy. I think she was essentially, but she has the gender key. So she used the gender key to be who she needs to be, essentially, to manipulate people. So she's now a boy in the show, or he's now a boy in the show, but like she's the boyfriend of the daughter now. She's like, so he's obviously done that to be placed a certain way and have like a cover story, so to speak. And there's just wee things like wee keys, like wee things that are used, and you don't really think about it until you read it again. So I'm filling wee gaps as I go along. From the first.
Definitely volume 1 might stand up my favorite though, because the thing like Head Games, the second volume, when they the concept of having a key to open someone's brain and put things in or take things out, and what they did with that was fantastic. I thought I loved that.
Yeah,
and
even like
I was just going to say, even if that is the only bit of that series I read, it'd forever be one of my favorites, because it is really unique and interesting what they do with that concept, I think.
The sad thing is, after I read that Head Games volume, I was thinking this would be a great TV show. They obviously made the show, but it wasn't very good. Like, even the idea of, like say, Martin, if you remember, that he had to study for school. He hadn't done the reading for school, so he opened his head and just put the book in his head. Next thing he knew everything, even the ISBN number of the book and stuff. It's just like,
and the imagery as well of them putting things in and out their head is just brilliant. I honestly, Head Games is the pinnacle of that series. Definitely, I love that.
Yeah, it's
definitely
weird
the
because
most memorable concept, isn't it?
Yeah,
Even though I can't remember a lot of those two series, I do remember even when they were trying to remove memories from someone, wasn't they, at one point, and then they unlocked a head, and then they removed certain bits, and like it was very cleverly drawn,
And they did a few times later on too, where they remove memories, and because I think they're fixing people, but essentially, as it transpires down the line, they're doing more damage than good.
Yeah, it messes them up because it makes them not be fearful of certain things.
Certain things, and even like in book 2, it kind of says like, so it's Kinsey has the fear taken out, and they're like, why don't we just do that with Bodhi, the young brother? And he's like, don't be daft. If we'd done that to him at his young age, he would cross the road without looking, and certain things like that. There, he wouldn't have the fear that he needs to kind of survive, so to speak. So, and obviously you find out too with her, she's a bit of a loose cannon, and maybe she needs to have some of the fear just to survive, so to speak. It's like Batman. It's like, how do you jump further? How do you run faster without the idea of fear and death and all this kind of rest of it? So, yeah. Just saying hello to Connie. She's saying, hey, gal pals.
Hey, gal pal.
I'm moving house, so I completely forgot it was Saturday. Were you moving house on Saturday? Because I think if you knew you were moving house on Saturday, then you knew it was a Saturday.
Yeah.
But you might
I think she means she's packing everything up, isn't she?
Yeah. Well, maybe. Are you moving back here? Are you still moving in Newcastle? Living in Newcastle? Are you going to South Wales? Because I know a guy who robs sweet shops in South Wales.
That is libel.
Well, you could email, just put Comic Airwaves down, and that's Scott did with that one.
I'm writing the email as I speak.
Yeah. But looking here, that's what I've read, and I have been quite poor recently in getting the reading done. But I've powered through those 2 books this week, and I've got the impetus to continue on. So I'll read Big 3 today and tomorrow, and then who knows what's next?
I think the Mam comes in quite a bit more in book 3 as well, if memory serves.
I don't like her at the minute.
Yeah, no, I think if you look at it in one way, a lot of the arc is kind of her being, severely damaged by the events of that first issue.
She's a dreadful mom, yeah.
And kind of coming back to reality almost like. So it's really, she's got quite a unique arc going on, I think. But it is background arc. But it comes a bit more to the fore, I think.
It's the same with Duncan. I thought Duncan would have played more of a part, so I'm maybe hoping he comes back in for book 3. He's the uncle. But who knows? Don't spoil it. I'm going to read it tomorrow. Andy's here from Perpetual Comics. Evening, folks. Alad need to know what switch up it was to avoid a criminal mastermind.
So you get in the local.
In like a 10-mile radius.
Alad is local somewhere, and he's going to dob me in. He's going to grass me up.
He's just going to go into the local shop and see like a picture of this guy wanted. It's like
I've been checking out the Comic-Con in Ireland as well, and I can't believe that you don't want to go because of this person being there.
Oh yeah, like I've seen that recently. Yeah, that was only announced 2 days ago, and I think
that's a big draw. And
I think-
Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I think they announced that just because of all the dropouts. Like in terms of like a few big names dropped out, so we'll put all the stops here by getting this little dog thing, whatever dog pull.
Look at can you read portograph?
On. I know.
You can get your own portograph.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this now, aren't I?
That's good.
Andy's asking, has Martin stolen Phil's chin? I'm assuming it means the beard because I haven't lost any of my chins currently. I still have the 20 odd chins I have.
I think that's a dig. I think he's having a dig there.
At who though? Who's it worse for?
I don't know.
I'm just going for the Viking beard at the moment.
It is longer than last time I've seen you, to be honest.
Yeah, it's getting there.
That kind of Kratos kind of pointy direction.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's going that way.
Yeah, like your beard's trying to get off your face. Like it's going, I don't want to be here.
I'm going to the barber's tomorrow. I have a 0 on top of the head, so definitely that God of War look.
Nice. I wish I can grow mine longer now, but I just don't. I get to a certain point where I just don't like it anymore myself. Fuzzy saying if you get a pic with a dog, I unsubscribe. And he's saying handsome as fuck too. Or
Again,
handsome AF. Sorry.
Which one?
Chris.
I'm gonna say me.
I'm gonna say you as well. Actually, yeah.
I've got more confidence than Phil.
Yeah. So, goodness me. So, whenever I was, Chris was talking about his rate at the start, I was a wee bit distracted because I forgot to upload my slide, my carefully crafted Google slide for this stream. So, I managed to get it, and here we go. Just starting off, well done to Kev. The last Einherjar, the complete saga, was on Kickstarter, and it's been backed successfully. 54 backers, reaching a total of £1,415, 1,415, which means he's met a few stretch goals, which we would benefit from as backers. So as well as the graphic novel of the complete saga, and I know there's obviously different tiers. With Martin, you went all in, you got everything, didn't you?
I went all in.
Yeah,
Everything.
I already had the single issues from before, so I just grabbed the graphic novel plus a commission. But because of the goals that were reached, he is also including the game concept art of the main character. A bookmark, which I'm really happy about getting a bookmark. I know it sounds daft, like you take bookmarks for granted, but I really wanted that bookmark. And then because he reached the 1,400 goal today, he is including an extra 4-page mini. So I believe it's coming in November. I know there was an option if you backed it, you could pick up your book at Thought Bubble in mid-November. So I'm assuming it'll be posted out in around that time. And yeah, really looking forward to it. Well done, Kevin. I'm sure. I mean, he's had Kickstarters before. He's had the single issues done before, but this is I as a collected edition fan, I think this is another level getting that out there. I'm chuffed for him.
And I think this has been his most popular one, hasn't it? I think
so. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, check out @KWiz on Instagram for other updates and other stuff he does. We all know Kevin. Kevin is a good lad. He's a good pal, and I'm chuffed for him. Genuinely chuffed. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to my commission. Martin, because he got the full hog, that includes the commission too.
It does, yeah. So I went through all of it because I wanted all the single issues as well, and I wanted the collector's edition. I wanted all the little bits as well, because I pushed Kev so much for this, continuously kept saying to him, when you're releasing the trade, trade. And I just felt like I had to hit the ground running. And as soon as he put it out there, I thought, I'm going for the full lot. So yeah. I'm quite psyched to get a commission as well. So
I've got the single issues plus both single issues of Volume 1 because he redid it. I think was it colored and he redone it in black and white, or was it black and white he redone it in colored? I can't remember what way around it is, but there's 2 different versions of issue 1.
I think the whole thing is black and white, isn't it?
The first one must have been colored though. There's definitely something different. I'm sorry if I'm offended by not remembering, but listen, my memory's terrible. That's old age for you, as Chris knows, as Chris can vouch.
I can vouch. Come
I don't want to put you in the spot, Chris, by asking, did you back this? But you
No,
can't.
I didn't because I forgot.
No.
But
Well-
I will be buying it off him on his table at Thought Bubble.
Yeah, that's another thing. He does have a table at Thought Bubble. So if you did miss the Kickstarter, I'm not sure how many copies he will have on the day, but I'm sure he'll have something. But by all means, Chris, hit him a message beforehand so he keeps one aside because, like I say, this year he's applied for Thought Bubble a couple of times and hasn't been accepted. So now he's in Thought Bubble this year and he has his Kickstarter. So
Good year.
good year for Kevin.
Yeah.
Chuff for him, absolutely.
Definitely.
I want to ask you guys about this. Something I've just off the cuff want to ask about. What have you seen these DC compact comics?
Yes.
What do you think of them?
No.
Why?
Just don't get me wrong. If it's for people that want to get into DC and they just want something small and compact as like maybe a travel book to take with you, that's fine. But for us that are like collected edition, fans, we've got best part of these stories in omnibuses and stuff. So I don't feel this format is aimed at us.
Is it sad, or is it just me being daft that I want them all though? Like even though I have them, like I own like American Vampire, Batman Hush, the Snyder Omnibus. I own a lot of these, but I still kind of want these to have. I don't even know why, if I'm honest.
They are pretty.
Sorry, Bruce, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say they are pretty. And in fact, if you're going to buy, a trade paperback of All-Star Superman, then that trade paperback there, it might be smaller in size, but it's built better. They all, as far as I know, they all come with sewn binding and they all come with really good high quality paper as well. And so they built far better than your average trade paperback. I've no idea why, but they did go down that road. And I think they needed to go down this road because the manga market is driving it. It is driving this
Marvel
more digest size and more easy handleable, comics like this are losing shelf space out in bookshops, left, right, and center for manga and stuff like that. And so if they can create a format that'll slot in nicely beside them and beside the shelf and things they've got, then crack on. There's nothing wrong with the books apart from the size, obviously. And again, most of these books were designed to be floppy or larger rather than smaller. And so the font is obviously going to be a little bit harder to read. Some of the art you're going to appreciate a little less. But if you don't own those books and you wanted to buy a version of them that you can just, take out and about or, take back and forth to work and read a couple of times without them falling apart, then these are great.
And the price point, they say £9. It's quite cheap.
Exactly.
That I think that's why even though I say I own the oversized covers, and I don't, this is how sad it is. I don't even commute to work. I work in the office one day a week, and it takes a 10-minute drive. I don't have the option, like on a train or bus, to read these books. But I feel like I want a couple of them. Just I don't even know why, if I'm being honest. Just because they're new and they're shiny, but they're not the best editions. But I think for everything Chris is saying, like convenience wise, like if I have Absolute Watchmen, for example. If I want to read Watchmen just on a random weekend, I have to crack open the big book and probably read it at the table. Where I just want to have the comfort of reading it on the sofa, by the beach, or whatever, I could have this,
Exactly. But even when you think of libraries and stuff like that, if I hadn't read Watchmen, that's the Watchmen I'd read first. I wouldn't pay anything like I would pay for a deluxe version, or if someone said read Watchmen and I go online and I can find a copy for a tenner and I'll pick it up, I won't even read the size because I'm not there yet. And I'm not being patronizing, but if you haven't read Watchmen, then you're not millions of miles into the world of comic books yet. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it's all going to be new, and so you're not going to really know the difference. But it's definitely a great way of getting new readers in at a cheap price point with a book that should last, in fairness. Yeah.
Fozzie's comment here, perfect toilet books.
Exactly.
I have thought of this. Like, I could get these here, and they say they're quite small. I could put a shelf in my bathroom and have them on the shelf, and I'll keep them there, and I would read them whilst I'm pooping.
I think part of the problem with it is me and Martin, and probably you to a certain extent, but certainly me and Martin, love the aesthetic of an extremely well-designed book.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not paying for just the story. We pay in for that cover design, for that extra footage, for that, that extra. That's what we want. We don't want a book to read in a toilet. We don't want a book to take back and forth to work. We want a piece to put on our shelf, bring out and slam on the table, but it be a beautiful object as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I think, but again, loads of people are not like that. Loads. Yeah. And this is for them.
Just like with Fuzzy saying here, if it gets new readers, it can only be a good thing. Not everyone wants or can afford to buy or be buying big collected editions. Plus, they're probably less intimidating to new readers. And that's the thing too. Say somebody did grab Watchmen and read it. This is really good. Really enjoy the art. They'll then know that they like the story enough that they can then fork out the £50-60 for the absolute edition, if it's even still in print. I think it is. Or likewise, the Court of Owls saga. They could upgrade. So maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe this is like the entry level for new readers.
100% entry level. It's definitely entry level, and that's not being patronized. If you buy in these and you're already established, then you buy in them for a specific reason because you like the size, or you like the way the colors are printed, or you like the bind. There's some specific reason you're buying them. If that's out, then you were a newcomer, like, and getting into it.
Yeah. See, like, if you said to me, like, now you have to go and buy one of these, and you need to give me a reason why you're buying it, I'll be like, right, okay, so what use could I have for one of these? Just looking at this list, I'll be like, right, I'm going on holiday at the end of the year. Right, I'm on the plane for 9 hours. Let me pick a book that I haven't read yet. It's ideal to chuck in my bag. I can bash it around and not worry about it. £9 on a book that's just going to travel with me.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd buy one.
The only other thing I'll say, I've obviously cut this off, the Wonder Woman book at the top, the bottom right-hand side. It contains all 3 volumes. Where I'm not even sure if there is a collected edition that has all 3 volumes of the Grant Morrison.
No.
Is this year one?
Earth 1, is it? Earth 1?
Yeah.
Isn't it? So that has all 3, apparently. Where I own the first one, but I don't see a collected edition for all 3 combined elsewhere.
I think issues wise, though, they're all not far off that. Court of Owls would be 12 issues, Watchmen 12 issues. That would be around 12, I think, because it was 4 a piece, when it 4 story arc for the Earth 1 stories.
I think it was. They're quite thin.
4 issues, I think. And so they're all kind of in 12s. All-Star Superman is 12.
Hush is 12.
Yeah. They're all probably 12 issues or thereabouts. Joker isn't. No, Joker's way smaller than that.
Martin, I say this is like a joke because you love your foil variants. I would spend a tenner on them before I spend a tenner on another bloody foil variant. There's foil variants everywhere these days, isn't there?
I do like a foil. If it's a foil of a cover I do like to get one slabbed. I like an exclusive from a convention or something.
That's different, I suppose. But like all these kind of facsimiles, I have the facsimile plus the foil edition facsimiles and stuff. It's too much.
Yeah, no.
Al was confirming there is a normal size trade paperback complete collection of Wonder Woman Earth 1. I will maybe look into that because I have the first hardcover volume. It's on eBay because I don't want to read it without having the other 2. But if there's a trade paperback, I may look into that. He was saying he was in London recently, and Forbidden Planet had dozens of the compact editions on the shelves. I'm assuming they're buying by the bulk load because I know with my local store, they can't keep these on the shelves. That's one thing. It's piqued my interest because every time he gets them in, they go straight away, and I feel like maybe it's that fear of missing out.
It's a perfect price point. It's not fear. It is a perfect price point, like pocket money price point, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So Harley Quinn and the Gotham City Sirens is out next week, I believe, and I might grab that because I don't really have any intention of reading or buying like a hardcover or an omnibus of that. I don't know what the story's about, but for £9, I can afford to buy it and read it and decide, do I like it, do I not, and then maybe buy, or upgrade to the sweet hardcover or whatever it is at the time. But yeah, that's just something I thought I'd ask, because they're relatively new. As I said, Marvel have their own versions as well, of the kind of small, kind of digest size books, and they seem to sell also. And like I say, maybe it's because a lot of young teenagers read a lot of manga, and they're used to that kind of size book, maybe, and it gets them off the shelves, gets them reading the good stories. So I think they're a plus, but maybe for us kind of seasoned collectors, maybe not. Maybe not.
See, with trades, I'm actually looking more towards DC's Finest range, which is DC's version of the Epic collections.
Yeah, the Epic collections even look good too as well.
Yeah, I think they look great. I think we're getting so many titles, and I think we're going to get some gap fillers of certain series that have never been collected, or we've got orphaned issues from on these. So outside of the event ones, I'm sort of doubling down on quite a few of those.
Yeah.
Are they similar to the Marvel in terms of them doing like color restoration and stuff like that? The DC Finest one.
I'm not 100% sure. I haven't seen any mention of color restoration on any of the stuff. They've just literally announced them and announced what's in them.
Have they been? Have they released yet? No?
Not yet. I think November's the kickoff. I think we're getting a few come out in November and December, and then it's sort of every month from there we're getting more and more stuff. But we've had loads of stuff from Green Arrow to Batman to Wonder Woman to Flash, and from all different eras. Sorry, Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Modern. We're getting a bit of everything, and I think they're going to do what they did with Epics and just have a random number on the back or a time like a year slot, and then you're going to be able to buy ones as they release and fill the gaps.
Oh, they've only gone and put bloody Batman Year 1 and 2 together.
Yeah, one of the first ones.
What in the holy fuck is that? Unbelievable.
Oh dear, they had to, didn't they? That's the only way they're going to sell copies of Batman Year 2, if they combine it with Year 1. That's the only way they're going to sell them.
That's a bunch of old shit, that is. I can tell you that.
Like I say, Chris, we can help you here. We are essentially a therapy for a lot of people, including ourselves, including Fuzzy, because he's having a bit of a rant. He hates foil covers with a passion. He also hates the new craze of facsimile comics with the new 125 covers, making it not facsimile, which is true, and that boils his piss.
Yeah, it's strange how they think they can do facsimile editions, but change what the original format was. That's a new edition.
Yeah. Even with the foil. So I bought the first one I remember they done it with was ASM 300 facsimile, but it must have been last year. And I bought it, and I remember I asked a comic book shop for it. And he says, "Do you want the foil variant as well?" And I was like, "Did they do that in the 60s or whatever it was, or the 80s?" He says, "No, but it's just that's what they're doing." It's like, okay, I'll have it too, but I felt I had to buy that, even though it's not.
I love that ended with you going, all right.
I didn't take much persuading, to be fair. But yeah, I agree, Fuzzy. It's not a facsimile. A facsimile is literally by definition like the carbon copy, essentially, of something that's been before. It's like that's why they have all the old adverts in it and stuff like that.
The only time I buy a facsimile is when they do a variant cover of something completely different by an artist that I really like. Other than that, I do not touch facsimiles at all for that reason. If I want to read the book, because let's be honest, you're going to buy a facsimile to read it. I'll read the collector's edition. I've probably already got that story in.
Yeah. See, I was buying the facsimiles because of the covers. Like I bought the AF-15. I bought Batman #1, Superman #1. I bought a few of them, but I bought them because I'm never going to own those copies. But now what they're actually doing, like Secret Wars, for example, which is 12 issues long, I think, they're doing a facsimile for all 12. And now they're currently going through the Amazing Spider-Man Black Suit saga, and they're all getting facsimiles. Now, they may be key issues as such, but they're not ungettable issues. Whereas AF-15, Batman #1, Superman #1, they were, or Action Comics #1, sorry, they were like we're not getting those, So facsimiles for that reason's good, but now they just seem to be milking the facsimiles now too. Anywhere they can make more money, they want to do it.
I think the only thing that I'm going to buy a facsimile soon is the blank variant, because there is Crisis on Infinite Earths. They're re-releasing every single issue. I want the blank variant of the issue where Supergirl and Flash get killed, so that I can go to a con, get someone to draw Flash on that issue, or Supergirl on that issue.
That's coming out though, or they have the fix in it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming out every 2 months. I think they're releasing them.
Yeah,
one by one. But I just want the blanks purely for sketches.
Fuzzy said another rant. Here we go. When I released the foil variant for Beneath the Trees, it sent me over the edge. If ever a comic didn't need to be shiny, it's Beneath the Trees. They don't understand. I've never read Beneath the Trees, but I know Fuzzy and Pete and the guys at the Killer Comic Show, they're very fond of that. So that's a book that's on my radar going forward. Beneath the Trees. I get the impression it's like, do you remember Happy Tree Friends years and years ago? The little kind of cartoon videos where like they would just kill their friends and stuff. No, you remember that, Chris?
I think you tripping.
No, well, it could have been, but I mean, it was a time in my life when I would have been quite a lot. But no, it reminds me of that anyway. So I'm going to check that out for sure. Do you say you want to check it out, Martin?
Yeah, I want to check that as well. I Fuzzy will probably hex me for it, but I did buy the foil copy of Beneath the Trees, but I only bought it because it was signed. It's the only reason I bought it.
Who is the creative team on it?
It's one person. I can't remember his name now for love nor money, but it's one guy. But I was watching a Whatnot show, and they had multiple signed copies, and one of them was the foil.
See that Whatnot? I went on a few weeks ago, and I didn't. There was nothing in the auction I wanted to buy, but I found myself bidding on books. And do you know how they get you? It's like they have like the giveaway, and like they do like different state. Say like they do 10 books. They're cheap books, for like £1, £2, whatever, and then after those 10 books, those buyers are in like the buyer's giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the giveaway, so I was buying cheap books the whole way through just to be in the giveaway. I ended up winning one of them, to be fair. But I just thought, why? I just spent like £40 on a bunch of cheap books. And I'm thinking, why?
I've done it myself. I've been on there and spent stupid amounts of money on loads of rubbish that I don't need. But the way I do it now is I get good prices on good slabs on there. I stick to certain sellers that I get certain things. So I get signed books, I get CGCs, and if I see variant covers and stuff that I know I want, I get them for a good price. I don't go on there and spend fortune. I've been caught out and spent loads of money before, like as you just said. But now I'm very controlled about what I buy.
I need to be a thing. Again, I don't go on all the time. It's just every so often I have this kind of inkling to go on, and then I lose a run of myself. Patrick Horfaith is the writer of that book. I can't think of anything he's done before.
I think this is his big thing that put him on the map.
I will definitely check it out. Beneath the Trees. That's not the full text. It's like Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees or something.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. I asked the guys here, of course, to provide. I didn't even take my full slide. I've obviously went over the threshold here. I'm not happy about that because I spent ages doing that.
It looks nice, though.
Yeah,
it looks very pretty.
So this is Chris. I asked the guys to provide books to look forward to in the month ahead, up to the end of September. Just to see what they're looking forward to, they can maybe recommend, get people excited for. Chris, Usagi Yojimbo, some Ninja Rabbit guy. Tell me about him. Is he new? Is he?
Yeah, he's a brand new character who's 40 years old this year. Yay! Happy birthday. That's all I got to say.
You can see age.
No, this is the first collection of him being back at Dark Horse now, because he was with IDW Stansky, and IDW was bringing books out, and I think, I don't know, there was a bit of a strained relationship there, and some of the books seemed a bit rushed. Mostly they were fine, like really. There was only 1 or 2 issues that seemed a bit off. But it's nice to see him back at Dark Horse Comics, really. And I've been collecting Usagi Yojimbo in the big omnibus formats, really, called sagas and other things like that. But this is probably one I'll just pick up just as a single volume, just to get some more Usagi Yojimbo in my life. it follows pretty much directly on from the IDW run. But again, Usagi is such a good series that you really can just jump on. Yeah, you'll be a little lost and you'll not know the finer details, but it's one of those series that you can still get the rhythm of it and get into it fairly quickly, I think. And this is again, following on from the IDW series and going into another series with Dark Horse, and hopefully there'll be lots more Dark Horse to come, and hopefully another saga by the end of it. But yeah, 40 years of Usagi Yojimbo, and so volume 39, the hardback limited edition one is coming out at the same time as the trade paperback.
Yep.
I think they limited to, I think about 1,000, maybe. I think
for the hardcover.
I think so. And
do you have yours pre-ordered? Are you going for the?
No, because this is my conundrum. Really, is that I had the hardcovers for the sagas. But originally, see, he brought out limited edition hardcovers of the trade. So they were collecting like 6 to 8 issues a volume. And so that's why it's a volume 39, because there are 39 of those smaller trades since he's started at Dark Horse, however many years ago. And I never collected those because they were like even slightly smaller than standard size trade paperbacks. They were, the trim size was a little strange. Mm-hmm. And by the time I started reading Usagi, the easiest way to read it was the saga. So I just jumped on with them. And now that we're at a point where it's kind of almost starting again. So even though it says volume 39, it is kind of, a new era for Usagi, going back to Dark Horse and starting afresh there again. I don't know if I'll pick it up in that format or if in trade paperback, or if I'll just pick up a cheap format, because I'm not really interested in the signed book plates and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I sold, as you probably remember, or probably know anyway, I sold my hardback saga versions because I used to read them and still do read them to my daughters at night. And the price of these things was fucking terrifying me. when I was like reading them in bed with my daughters, like, and they're on either side, and we just chilling out in bed reading them, and then I see the price on these things, and like per book, like they like 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 pound a book. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I couldn't relax reading them, and I was just like, I don't want to. I'm not buying them. I bought them because the format was what I liked. I didn't buy them to be like exclusive and have the signature and have the limited edition. I couldn't care less about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so it was having all that was really intimidating me. So I sold them on. And so it'll probably end up the same with this. I'll probably end up getting the trade paperback but in fairness, these ones, the individual limited edition hardbacks, have never reached those prices ever. The prices of those saga ones, never even close. Like,
I think that because those saga books, I can remember when there was one that was missing. So they printed the last one as like book 7 or something, or I think it was book 7, was it?
No, it was book 1. Book 1 only had 900 editions.
That's what it is. So
and every
like
other edition had 1,500.
Yeah.
So they basically brought out the second print and only published 600 to even what's out there in the mass.
But everyone went mad for that. Like, I can remember, like, again with Mad Dog, he was one that got it, and it was through Organic Price Books. He got it, and I remember other people were getting it, and I was thinking, people are going mad for this book, and they're paying, and even now in aftermarket, they're paying mad sums. I do remember you sold them and you bought the paperbacks because you said you read them quite often. Like I said to your kids.
And the paperbacks are great. The paperbacks by Dark Horse. The only thing that's different, and I genuinely mean this, is the fact that it hasn't got a hardcover wrap. Mm-hmm. The paper quality is exactly the same. The size is exactly the same. It's sewn binding. So the only difference is the fact that it hasn't got that hardcover wrap. And obviously that helps you open it up to a certain extent. But in terms of quality of books, you're not going to go far wrong. Like, they are going to survive a good lot of reading.
Yeah.
And I have no intention of, like, I want to read Usagi. I don't want to, like, have it sitting on the shelf and be intimidated to pick it up because I don't want to get bloody Cheetos on it. You know what I mean?
Plus, the thing is, too, with this here version, Chris, if say there's a few more volumes down the line, say 3 or 4 volumes, and you get the paperback, You could always do a custom bind of 3 trades.
And I loved that. Yeah, I did that with the IDW. So I've got all of the IDW series custom bound, and I love doing that. It's very expensive, but I enjoy doing that.
Okay, next on, and by the way, because I did do this quite quickly, I didn't do it in any kind of order. So here's the 10th of September. That's the release date for this. Where the 14th of August was your next.
I thought it was the 27th. The 14th must be the direct market.
Possible. This is from the website, League of Comic Geeks. So the 14th was that they had. This is Unholy. But you're picking this because you haven't got your copy yet.
No, I haven't got mine yet. I'm going to grab it when it comes out in the general market, really. I wasn't in a rush because I know it's going to be good. And to be honest, I haven't even read the synopsis. Looking at it as the first time I've seen the synopsis. I'm buying it purely and simply because Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, small hardback, straightforward.
I think you can't really go wrong. I think the recent one they done, what was it called?
Night Fever.
I don't think it hit the kind of heights that people expected, maybe.
It was crap. But
I haven't read it, so
it was pretty shit, to be fair. But it looked really nice. So I think the good thing about these books is they come in at such a low price point. Like you're going to probably pay about 14, 15 quid for it, most really. And you read it, and then it's good because I think for every good Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips book, there's going to be a bit of a bad one, a negative one. It's like Fatal, for example. Fatal, some people really dislike it, some people really love it. Criminal, the same. Kill or Be Killed, the same. Night Fever, but then
Kill or Be
straight
Killed
after
is only
Night
okay.
Fever,
It's not Image's best book ever. Kill or Be Killed. It's only okay.
What?
It is his best book ever.
Kill or Be Killed is.
Do you not remember the video that Chris done that time where we all had to participate and we all picked our favorite books and then he edited everyone in to pick Kill or Be Killed?
Yeah,
rightly so.
I do it again, damn it. But yeah, what was the other one as well? The Murder on the Neighborhood. What was it called? That was the one after Night Fever. Oh, I forgot. It's on the shelf there.
I'm behind the Ed Brubaker Phillips stuff. Is it the most recent? Oh yeah, the Where the Body Lies or Where the Body Is or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah. This is the thing.
So I really enjoyed that. There was nothing to dislike, And again, I'm sure this will be the same. It seems like it's going down more of the Fatal direction with kind of, cults and mysteriousness and all that. So, yeah.
Well, Fuzzy said he heard amazing things about this. Again, like what you're saying, like Brubaker and Phillips, they do that much, and generally it's all gonna be good. You might get the odd one that doesn't hit the kind of heights that they're used to, but again, you're usually on a safe bet, picking up their stuff. I love the fact that they no longer do single issues; it's just all graphic novels now, and that's what they wanted to do. I think for years, I always remember an article. It might have been in the Pulp book. It was the first one they released like this, and they were like, "We've wanted it off that kind of conveyor belt style method of releasing comics, and they wanted to do this, and COVID essentially helped them do that, and they haven't looked back. Like the Reckless stuff really good.
When they brought the Fade out, and there was so many delays with that because I think the colorist passed away, or the letter, or someone, there was some incident, and that really suffered from being single issue. It was very disjointed single issue, but then when it came out in collected edition, it was like reading a totally different book. It was mad. But even I bought all the single issues.
Even in their criminal run, was it Bad Weekend? There was something else. They released the hardcovers for that particular story arc, and they sold really well because this is the starting of an end of an arc story that you could just read on its own without having to read all their stuff. And like, I feel like they've obviously realized or wanted to do it for a long time that this actually works better for the way they want to tell their stories.
I think it does.
This is on my radar too.
When they're ready, can't they? They can release them when them when they're ready. As opposed to having to just continuously. But then
I think that's the big thing too. Like if you, we can go into a whole other rant. We've talked about this before. How Marvel and DC should be the top tier, where all the top tier writers want to get to this point, but they're not anymore. The top tier writers have done this, and now they're moving on to do their own stuff for their own IPs, make more money. And this is the reason they don't have the pressure or the stress or the frustrations even of having to do this monthly book.
It's great, to be honest, though. It's like people like Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, they go to the big two to earn their name, and then they go, right, I don't need you anymore because people know my name now, so I'm going to do my own thing. And then they're going to come, and that's great. I mean, Ed Brubaker wouldn't be even coming out of my mouth at all if he hadn't have done Winter Soldier for Marvel. It wouldn't have been, and that pushed him into an whole other stratosphere, that kind of, the arcs of Captain America and all that. And they're not even his best stuff. His best stuff is when he's on his own doing his own thing. But without that, he wouldn't have been able to do that. So I think if you play that system right, and don't give him too much, because if you give him all your creativity, if you give him everything, you'll have nothing for yourself afterwards. And I think if you balance it right, you can make a lot of money and have a good career out of it.
The likes of Tinian, and he's another one who's still involved with DC to some extent, but he's obviously sold a lot of his stuff to Amazon Prime or Netflix, whoever. So he's making the big bucks that way. And Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, they're doing the Geiger universe. Like, again, they don't need to go back to do Marvel or DC books, and they probably won't anyway. Because I don't think Jeff Johns will go back to DC. I don't think anyway.
Let's be honest, Jeff Johns has built his name in DC, and he pretty much laid a foundation for the DC universe. And I'll say universe because that's what he did. And they're still recalling back to that now because no one's really took the mantle of where Jeff Johns left off.
But this is where I think DC and Marvel struggle, because there's part of me, and I do watch some YouTube channels, and all they do is rant and talk about how crap comics are, and sometimes I don't like to give them too much of my own headspace or whatever, because they're just ranting. But sometimes they make a point to say the big writers don't go to DC and Marvel because they're not willing to pay the money. I think it was Mark Miller said at one of his live streams. He said, like, he earns more money now. Any artist he employs to write one of his books, they're earning 5, 6, 7 times per page they would earn at Marvel or DC. So why would you go back to that?
Yeah. And
that's maybe why their storytelling's suffering, because they don't have the established, experienced creators who know how to tell good stories. And sometimes Marvel and DC stuff is really hit or miss. And at the minute, I think overall it's quite poor. But anyway, back to this. Ed Brubaker, Phillips, this is the thing. They are established, they're experienced. You're getting from them, and they have a following who will buy every book that they come out. Just like Chris, I don't buy them.
I am a proper chill for Ed Brubaker and Phillips. Even if I'll sell it on later, I will buy it initially. So
I haven't bought it because they're not ones that go out of print. They're all usually widely available, and I think the last one I bought was the last Reckless book. Haven't read it, but I've bought it. That's something. So
I will get this, but I would try to say I'm gutted about this book because when I went to MCM in May, I got to meet Jacob Phillips, and I noticed I went on the Saturday, and on the Friday I noticed he put his stall out, and he had a handful of these like pre-release back in May, and I was like, right, as soon as I get there, I'm going to see Jacob. I want to get a sketch done by him. I'm getting this book as one of. And then I messaged him on Instagram on the Friday night saying, look, have you got more copies available? Have you got them? Sold out? Sold out. Everyone he brought with him on the Friday. I was gutted. So
he did the same with where the body was for Thought Bubble. Because I went and saw him at Thought Bubble, and I was like, is that where the body was? And he was like a pre kind of printed copy where it was just a very flimsy paperback, like, which is just for like suppliers and stuff. And I said, oh, can I have that? He said, yeah, 20 quid. I went, 20 quid for that? and I was like, oh, all right, fine. And I got it, and I enjoyed the story. But again, I wish I would have waited for the hardcover. So I think you're all right. I think.
I dodged a bullet potentially.
I think so.
But yeah, I will grab this too. But let's face it, Martin, if you had bought that in May, would it have been read by now? Probably not. No. But still, really nice to
That's
have it
just honest.
months prior. Right. Oh, moving on to Martin's picks. September 17th is Superman the Triangle Era Omnibus. I don't know too much about this, other the fact that Martin, it seems to be a few different stories kind of collected.
Yeah, to be honest, Superman doesn't really get a lot of love in collected editions, and now DC are actually getting their act together. Superman is coming out with the Triangle Era. I don't know much about this era. I only know that Omar speaks very, very highly of this era. So I'm quite excited to get hold of this because I would like to read this just to see what the hype is all about.
I think it's 90s.
Late 80s, early 90s stuff.
Okay. Because the Man of Steel #1 to 8. Yeah.
So I don't really know too much.
Oh, that's the John Byrne Man of Steel, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, that's a really good run.
The John Byrne.
I've read that. I didn't realize it was named the Triangle Era. What's it called, the Triangle Era?
I think that all the books in this sort of era, they had these little triangles in the corner. I think it was.
Right.
I don't think it's actually called that. I think just a lot of fans call it Triangle Era.
So DC added numbered triangle icons to each cover, indicating to readers exactly where they are in the story.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So to give it continuity, so it's in order with it. Right. Okay, that makes sense.
That's interesting. Yeah, like that. It's kind of they needed that for like you think like Spider-Man, for example. You think like Craven's Last Hunt, for example, is over like 3 different titles, not so much in the same order. So maybe they like say a wee indication would be nice that these books are all in continuity, all part of the story or something.
There's a random Starman issue in there as well. So if you've got a Starman
interesting read.
Yeah.
I may look into this myself. Depends on the price point. If it can be sold with a cheaper price point, that usually sways me easily.
Is it omnibus size as well? Yeah, is it the hardcover?
Yeah.
Omnibus?
Oh, I want too far. I don't want to go back now, Chris. We're doing this thing. So we did have the Teenage Mutant. I can't go back in this, can I? Can I do that?
That's all right. Well, that previous one was the Turtles Compendium, which is the final volume of all the Mirage.
That's all there is. All of it wrapped up.
Yeah, I think it hasn't collected everything because there is licensing issues, but it's got everything there in 3 compendiums of the Mirage era, and I'm looking forward to that, so I can actually.
They're called compendiums, but they are a big omnibus, aren't they? Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I can remember Adam actually bought one of the first ones that came out, and this is when they came out initially, and the price point was quite high, like for an omnibus. I just thought
I held off.
I'm not buying that. Yeah. So are they down now? The normal? Are they still in print?
Yeah, I should be able to get them still. Yeah.
I might have a wee look because I didn't look at them again just for that reason. But I like the Turtles, and I've always kind of thought about buying the paperbacks for the Mirage stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I might look into those compendiums.
Yeah, I got the Ultimate collections because it cuts out a lot of the. I don't want to say shit, but
You do.
I can't think of a different word to use because they Eastman and Laird had this weird period where they were so focused on the world of TMNT, so developing the cartoon, developing the merchandise and the franchise, where they literally couldn't write issues or draw issues. So they allowed other creators to do that for them and to carry it on. So the Ultimate collections just collect the Eastman and Laird story from start to end. So it literally takes out any issue that is not really written or drawn directly by them. And so it's more of a kind of clean narrative, whereas the compendium goes into some mental shit. And some of it is amazing. Some of it is not, but you get everything. So if you're a fan of TMNT and you want the whole thing, then definitely the way to go is the compendium. But if you want like a snappy, clean narrative, the Ultimate collections are pretty good, really.
Nice.
See, I only went for the compendiums because I looked at the Ultimate collections, and I think they were tough to get at that time. You couldn't get them, and the prices were ridiculous because so many people were after them.
They're in two versions, the paperback and the hardcover. The hardcover is a little harder to get now. But I think the trade paperbacks are getting that way as well. So the compendiums are definitely the easiest way right now to get anything.
Nice. Yeah. I think I looked at the paperbacks. I remember I seen the hardcovers in people's collections, and you've heard the saying, you can't say green cheese or can't say shit. Like I see someone with it, I wanted it, and I looked at the hardcovers once upon a time, and you couldn't buy them apart from like on eBay for stupid money. In the paperbacks that were widely available, they were fine. But you're saying now they're now starting to go to print. Okay, so maybe the compendium is my way into that. There,
they really are focusing from the Eastman and Laird kind of early Mirage years, as you put it. Right? They are focusing really heavily on the compendiums. They've got no interest in reprinting in any other way at the moment. Anyway.
Yeah, just saying hello to Highland G. Saying hey everyone. Highland G, his details are in the description below. Previous guest, so check out his channel as well. Berserker, Martin. This is the Keanu Reeves, and here, Chris, it's Matt Kent. You're a massive Matt Kent fan, so you'll be over this too.
This is one of the things that I look at and I go, it's something I love with something that is strange to me, being Keanu Reeves, because Keanu Reeves is a legend. Don't get me wrong, but he's an enigma.
And he's also not a comic book writer, so it's like
exactly.
But
see, I've wanted this. I wanted to get into this for so long, but I've always been in the hope they're going to release it in a big collected edition. So I've held off and I've stayed away, and I'm finally getting my wish. So yeah, this is what I'm looking forward to getting to.
Are you going to get the normal deluxe edition or the waste of money slipcase edition?
Always the waste of money slipcase edition.
Yeah. I'm the same. Yeah,
I'm with you. The Boom Studios £15 cardboard collection.
So I read the first volume of this, as it issues 1 to 5 or 1 to 6, I can't remember. And actually, it's actually quite good. Like, if I can remember, it's also he's immortal, and he's obviously like a mercenary almost, but like over different periods of time essentially. And then the modern day US government or whoever it was are actually using them now for their kind of black ops, so to speak. I'm sure it says that in the description, but I mean but I'm just going by memory here.
It sounds like an autobiography for Keanu Reeves.
This is the thing. Obviously, the guy looks like Keanu Reeves. He looks like John Wick. Has had a hard time, no longer wearing a suit. So, I mean, let's be honest. We're all expecting a movie or TV series or something like that with this book. And if it doesn't happen, I'll be massively surprised because it's just written for Keanu Reeves. Just hope they can make it in time if we're maybe too old to make action movies anymore. But it's one of those ones that I think now there's spin-offs. There's other series that have kicked off, so I don't know if they're going to another book, another second volume of this. But yeah, even that
Ron Garney is an amazing artist as well.
Yeah, the art's fantastic. Yeah. Like, if I remember correctly, it's like it's one of those. I compared them like who done the Godzilla book, Chris? James Stokoe.
James Stokoe. Yeah.
So that kind of amount of detail that you like, and John Paul Leon was the same, where you have all these detail that you don't actually need, but he adds to it. And it's like, what makes sense? So it's like, I remember that's how I was thinking about this.
That cover is awesome.
Yeah, it's an awesome cover. See this novel? I bought it. Know nothing about it, but I just bought it because it's Berserker Keanu Reeves related. It's all over there. It's too far away, but to see what it's actually called, no idea what it's about. But I just got it because the cover was black and pink as well, and they were nice colors.
So I'm a big fan of Keanu Reeves. So I know I'm gonna really lap this up. I love him in The Matrix, and I love him as Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk 2077. So yeah, this is an easy thing for me. It's just more Keanu. So bring it on.
There is a movie Steve and Highland G's obviously saying, so that'll be good. But Let's all read the source material first, I think, because I think it is worth it. I think it's very good. But the thing is, I like about it too, and Chris, this is not no way a dig at all. Is it Matt Kent who does all these random, really stupid, I say stupid, but like over elaborate editions of books? Like, remember there was some book, you had some sort of weird code, you open it and stuff, all right? Like all these weird.
And he's got one, the cover, you can fold it to make something as well.
So, like, this is going to be a normal book with a slipcase. Like, what's going on? It's not Matt Kent at all.
Yeah, I know. He can't let himself get carried away with it. But Matt Kent is really good, really talented writer. But I think when he's on his own, he very much leans into that kind of pulpy spy crime genre, where there is kind of a science fiction element or more of a historical element, but it's always around that. But then when he teams up with people, it's always very different, very interesting, can work really well, can sometimes not so well, but always worth a look. So,
if I can remember correctly too, there was one issue in the first volume that was almost like Conan the Barbarian style. So it was like the berserk character B, as he's called, from like medieval times, whatever. So it's like maybe Matt Kent's trying to get those kind of strange kind of those kind of strange stories out within like a modern day set at the same time. But yeah, looking forward to it. My pick, which I've read this, I'm going to buy this anyway because I have the single issues. I'm going to buy the trade paperback. I recommend everyone reads this because Marvel, in my opinion, in the last, I don't know, when did Venom end? 3 years ago. I've been putting out some absolute shite, if I'm being brutally honest. But this is not. This is probably the best thing Marvel's put out in a couple of years, and they're not doing anything that's ridiculously, out there. Like thing outside the box. Essentially, what it is that we're in the future, and something's happened to the world where the heroes essentially bear the brunt of it and take the responsibility. So heroes are almost outlawed. But the government now have this new set of heroes, but they have control of essentially. And obviously Captain America is the old man, and he gets the band back together because he thinks these new kids don't do things correctly for the right reasons. And it's kind of like touching on some kind of like the boomer or the Gen Xers and the millennials and that kind of stuff. Like saying like the young people don't know what they're doing, but sometimes older is better. But Red Skull's pulling the strings here essentially, and Steve gets the grip, gets everything, gets the old Avengers, gets whatever state you find them in, they're all kind of back together. Hence Twilight, it's like the Twilight years of the Avengers. But genuinely,
you love the because Dark Knight Returns is obviously one of your favorites as well. Yeah. You love these. Oh, I'm fucked, but I'm gonna come back one last time.
Even with wrestling, like it's like any wrestlers that retired for 10 years and they have one more match type of thing. I do love that genuinely.
It's the one more. Let's make this count, boys.
Yeah, but it's like they're showing the new breed how it's done because maybe as I'm getting older, I do sometimes think these kids these days they don't know they don't know how easy they have it, so to speak. This shouldn't know what's what.
As I was speaking as well, I was looking at the artwork and they've got a cover homage to.
Oh no.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I have that cover too. I think is that Hawkeye? Yeah, I have it.
Of course, Phil's got it.
Yeah, but no, I think you should all buy this and read this. It's one of those ones that I think I'm not comparing it to Marvel's, but for me, Marvel don't have as many standalone kind of self-contained stories that should always be on the shelf of a comic book store, like Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen. There's tons of others for DC getting this, but the only thing I can think of is like Marvel's really for Marvel. Craven's Last Hunt, maybe. The Phoenix Saga. Like I'm just trying to think Marvel, but this should be one.
You are right though. It's these stories that are kind of almost like Elseworld stories in terms of. You don't need to know who Captain America is, or you don't if you pick up Dark Knight Returns, you don't need to know who Batman is. Really, you just need to understand that this is a guy there was a vigilante that is this age and this is where he's at, and that's all you need, like. And I think, yeah, a lot of the Elseworld stories and these kind of alternative stories are great for that in DC in particular. But Marvel love continuity. They love it. They absolutely love
to
tying
their own
anything in.
detriment. Yeah.
Yeah, like Kraven the Hunter. You say that you read Kraven the Hunter, and there's some issues in there that you're like, who in the hell is this? What's going on? There's some rat guy. I don't know who he is. I don't know what's happening. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, Marvel's is probably the best example of not needing to know anything that happened before. And obviously, Marvel's and Kingdom Come, obviously, same kind of artist anyway. That you know, you can see why they're kind of standalone, and there should always be in like the shell, so to speak. But this is one for me, like certainly the recent one, where by all means, people know who Captain America, even like the average fan, because of the MCU, they know who Captain America is. You will get some of the other guys in here, but not in the way you know them. I don't want to give too much more away, but because stuff has happened, but the stuff that's happened is all part of the story. It's not stuff that's happened in their own individual books 5 years ago, but like continuity wise, it's just whatever happened in this story is what happened, basically.
I got an issue with Captain America though, because many years ago now, I went to see Captain America, the First Avenger, in the cinema with my then wife. We were watching it, and what transpired has really affected how I see Captain America, because I look at him and he makes me feel less of a man because of this incident.
I feel like did you say this story? Go ahead, tell your story.
Did I? I don't know. I like that. But in the scene where Steve is in the chamber and the chamber opens up, I'm in the cinema with my then wife, and it's all quiet. It's all quiet. Everyone's watching. The chamber opens and that mist dies down and his body is revealed. This is what she did. She went like that. I'll do that again if you couldn't hear. She went.
But the way
I've never had that. I've never in my entire life has any human being ever looked at me and gone.
But it's not just the sound you're making; it's the actions. It's like you're leaning back, like.
She did. She went.
Oh dear!
Never in my life has that happened. So Steve has always intimidated me.
To be fair, yeah,
that's the thing. You know, you're not getting that reaction as long as you're not getting the.
No, I've had that. So we're going on a tangent, I suppose. I didn't always have a beard. When I started growing my beard, my wife didn't like it. Okay, and then during COVID, I've had the beard probably 5-6 years before COVID. Maybe not as long as that, but a long time anyway, I thought. And during COVID, I shaved it all off, and I went downstairs to my wife, and I think she'd be happy because she'd never liked the beard prior to that. And I got the I'm thinking, I done this for you. Like, I've shaved my beard because you want the, you don't like it. And then she says, no, just grow it back. Now, bear in mind, so many years had passed, so many chins had formed that the beard hides. So I can see maybe I didn't look the same.
What do you look like? Jesus Christ! What are you hiding under there?
Oh, there's about 4 chins under there.
Wow.
But yeah, I've had that feeling. But I also had the thing too, where sometimes I would get out of the shower, I'm drying myself, just like hurry up and put some clothes on.
Yeah,
So
see, that's the problem I've got. Is that when I'm naked and basking, and the steaminess is going off me, no one ever goes and leans back.
See,
they just go put some clothes on.
The funny thing is too, and you already mentioned Chris Evans and Captain America. From me and my wife, it was James Bond. Remember the Daniel Craig hot pants coming out of the sea?
Oh no!
Like, that's always been ingrained in her head, and she's like, why can't I look like that?
Like, why can't you look like that? Why answer? Why can't you look like that?
I did a given one time. Say, why can't you look like what's your woman from Wolf of Wall Street, the Australian actress? Margot Robbie.
Actually named a actress.
That's it. I says, why can't you look like her? And then it didn't go down too well. But sure.
Are you surprised?
No, but I took the abuse for years, and I still do take abuse. But the one time I defend myself.
See, I would have turned around and said, look, if you just squint, you squint,
Turn your head this way.
That's it.
Put the lights
close.
different. It's just and then just close your eyes entirely and think of Daniel Craig. Then you'll think I'm Daniel Craig.
This is a reprint, isn't it?
I think so, but I don't have it. I think it's been long to print for a long time. David Michelini and Eric Larson. This is the DM variant, by the way, which I don't have pre-ordered, but if I can get this, I'll try and get it.
That's a good cover.
Yeah, it's for me. I like Venom like this, with all the kind of green stuff and whatever else, and all the crooked teeth. Where I think sometimes Venom now is drawn with like all straight teeth.
Why has he got double vision?
I was thinking that.
Oh, now you've ruined it for me, Chris.
What's going on with the two Spider-Men?
It's like that's very strange.
It's just the reflection, maybe, of like.
No,
Yeah, because you're not seeing Venom. You're not seeing Venom's. Like,
we see
eyesight from the front of Venom. You know what I mean?
The white doesn't reflect in color like that.
This is true. I haven't thought this through, have they? Oh well, there's another cover. If you
watch when Phil gets this one days ago. I went for the standard cover.
I'm going to now because Chris ruined this one for me. But no, listen, I want to read all Spider-Man. I am nowhere near reading this at all. But I think like the way that the Spider-Man omnibuses went for so many years, where they're out of print, and I'm just going to grab them while I can and keep them, and I'll get to them eventually. But I would like to have the Amazing Spider-Man right through the current day. When I say that, like I've no interest in the Clone Saga stuff. Not because I've read it, because everyone talks smack about it.
Do you mean the Ben Reilly stuff?
The Ben Reilly, is that part of the Amazing Spider-Man, or is that a different Spider-Man run or something?
Different Spider-Man, but it's still part of the Clone Saga, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't have them, and I don't think I will, just because. But they're all back in print as well, currently. But
the Eric Larson stuff was pretty good. You can't go far wrong with it. I don't think.
Yeah, like I said, it was out of print for so long. Is Eric Larson? Is he? He's still with us. He's still with us, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah. Savage Dragon. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Is he one of the original 6, the one over the image?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Nice. But yes, this comes out on 24th of September. So if you're a completionist, or at least trying to get all the Spider-Man stuff like myself at some point, jump on it. Now, I put this down, but not because I'm going to buy this book because it's a stupid price. But Chris, I messaged you a few weeks ago about some 2000 AD stuff, because you'd just done the video of this book with the paperback. Isn't that right?
No, shall I get it?
Yeah, why not? Basically, I've been looking at some kind of 2000 AD stuff just purely because of the art. I don't know how good the stories can be, but I've seen some art of this, and it looks fantastic. In fact, my friend of mine has all like the original hardcover deluxes for this, which I might try and buy off him instead of buying this. But the art looks phenomenal.
Bisley art?
Is it Langley? What's his first name? Who's the artist, Chris?
Simon Beasley.
Was it Simon Beasley? All right,
yeah.
Okay. Who am I thinking? Who's Langley? Is it Clint Langley? What did he do?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
it's a beast, isn't he?
I do like Simon Bisley's art, especially his Lobo stuff.
But see that edition.
The colouring in you, though, really sets it off. Because if you look at the original prints of this, the colouring ain't half as good as this, I'll be honest. It's nowhere near.
Really?
Yeah.
So basically, Chris has a video of this edition. Or no, was it a short you put on Instagram, or was it an actual video on YouTube? I can't remember.
I think it was a short I put on YouTube and Instagram, I think.
All right. So basically, it's like talking about this paperback and how good quality this is as well. So yeah, don't looks fantastic. So don't actually...
that's the type of now when I get out of the shower, that's what I look like in my head. But I don't think.
No, sorry, Chris, you don't see it. Yeah.
No.
Again, maybe if you squint.
Waxes. Yeah, this is a really good trade paperback. It's massive, by the way. So
is it gallery edition?
It's bigger than a gallery edition.
So it doesn't fit in the Kallax? Oh, it could be a problem.
No, magazine +2, isn't it?
+5. It's a big one.
So how, do you just store that on top of your bookshelf, like
Top of the billy.
horizontally?
Yeah, no, the billy, you can adjust the
Oh,
shelves.
okay, yeah.
So I got a separate billy, which has got like Parker and a few other books that are really oversized.
Mm.
But this is great. For a trade paperback, I think I paid about, 17 or 18 pounds for this. And
Nice.
again,
Was that from Sci-Fi, or did you buy it from 2000 AD direct?
well, if I was going to buy it a sci-fi, I'd use the code
Airwaves?
_my_shells for 5% off. If I was, I wouldn't use the airwaves. But I think I got off Speedy Hen, actually, I think. But
Yeah.
it is sewn binding. The paper is super good quality. I can't imagine that the paper is different from the hardback version, to be honest. The only difference majorly between that, and that is a limited edition hardback, and they're all gone now, I think, is that there's 3 main story arcs in here, and they've split those 3 main story arcs into 3 individual hardbacks in there, and obviously put it all in a slipcase. But with the cost of that, when you pay like
It's ridiculous
17,
money.
18 quid, it's mental.
Yeah.
And you get in such a good quality book, same size, same dimensions. The only thing is you're obviously not getting that beautifully designed package, which I know, if you're a fan of the series, then that's going to be the be all and end all. But if you like me and you just want to read it and experience it, because I'm not a fan yet, because Slain has always been one of those things that I'd wanted to read by 2000 AD, because when you look online, it's one of those ones that people recommend all the time, like Button Man and like Judge Dredd and other things, and Ballad of Halo Jones and all this stuff. It's one of those ones that they recommend, and so I'm not even a fan yet, so I would have never gone for like the really pricey high-end one, so I'm glad they got that version.
And they're starting to do that for a lot of other series.
Yeah, they are.
That Button Man one you told me about as well, and I think there's 2 trade paperbacks for it. One of them you can get quite easily. I think one of them's a bit harder to get than it.
There's one that's collected. They've got the Button Man trilogy. I think it's called the Harry X trilogy. I got it, and that's the 3 trade paperbacks collected in 1 trade paperback. And that's I think I paid like £11 for that on Books, etc. And again, for Button Man, what more do you want apart from, if you're a real big fan, because they're releasing the artist edition of that soon, and it's a beast. I think it's like, what do they call them? What do 2000 AD call them now? Apex editions.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. They're bringing out one for the Button Man. I think, didn't Omar share it the other day or something?
I'm not sure. I haven't watched. Martin, you have the Judge Dredd stuff, the case files or the case studies, whatever they're called.
Yeah, I've got up to something like 22, but I like to get them in order. But the 23 and 24, I think, you just can't get them. Even on their website, they're not available. So I've sort of jumped off Dredd for a little while. But I like Judge Dredd. Again, another post-apocalyptic sort of future whole type scenario. I'd love to see Dredd in the hardcover, but again, they're still pumping them out in progs. That's like 40 or 50 at the moment.
Now, I'd wish they do something like this with Judge Dredd, because this isn't the first Slain book. There are ones before they came out and ones after. This is kind of the origin and one of the most popular Slain story arcs. So they've literally gone, right, we're going to publish that story arc in this format. And I'd wish they'd do that for Dredd, because part of the thing with Dredd is there's so many solid story arcs, but then there's so many kind of mediocre ones as well. And I just want someone to go in and go, right, this, and this. Let's put them out there and put them on get them really, out there in a lovely format and showcase the best of Dredd. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because Dredd's had so many artists and writers over the years. It's just so much. Every single book that you get, it's just a new wave on the front cover of just artist after artist and writer after writer.
See, that's the thing with Judge Dredd. You mentioned there's 23, 24 missing from your collection, whatever. It's just like that's a lot of books. But if what Chris is saying, if you were to pick, go ahead.
Which means that amount of books, that's the issue number. I'm missing 23 and 24 for prog.
Are they not trade paperbacks?
Yeah,
That's annoying. Aye.
I've got up to 22. I think 23 and 24, or it's 24 and 25. You can't get them at the moment. So now I've stopped, and I think they're up to 40 or 45.
Yeah.
On the prog.
That's what I mean. I would like to. I've read some more recent Judge Dredd miniseries that's come out in the last couple of years. I've read some of them, but I would like to get into Judge Dredd, like say the origin and whatever else, and some of the more classic stories. So that what Chris is saying, if they've done those kind of editions for Judge Dredd, and not have to go from like number 1 right through to 46 or whatever, that's ideal. But if they do that, I don't know. I suppose Judge Dredd's probably the most marketed character from the 2000 AD stuff, I'd say.
I said so. Obviously most known. Because early Dredd is very bite-sized stuff. You know, the first couple of progs are just very short, like mostly short stories.
Yeah.
It's only until you get further in, they start fleshing out bigger stories.
Yeah, the thing I love most about 2000 AD actually is it's always been more creator-driven in terms of like, you know, if a certain creator or creative team go on Judge Dredd, then you'll jump on Judge Dredd, and if they jump and do something else, they'll have a look at that. It's like you said about Judge Dredd being the most popular. I think having like the name Alan Moore next to any 2000 AD character is the most popular. Do you know what I mean? I think it's really like people will.
Yeah, because Garth Ennis, he's going back and doing some stuff at the minute. Can't think of the character's name. The Trooper or something. Rogue Trooper. Is that 2000 AD?
It might be. I'm not sure.
So he's going back.
I'm loving Garth Ennis at the moment. I'm on a right Garth Ennis trip at the moment.
What are you currently reading of his?
Hitman, Omnifuss.
Oh yes,
I want that. I want that. That looks really cool.
Preacher as well. I
love Preacher. It's fantastic.
I mean, I never completed it till recently. Like I never went the whole hog, and I have no idea why. I could not give you a single sensible answer as to why that is. It just seemed to happen. But I sat down and read it all, and it is quite possibly the best comic book series I've ever read, outside of Hellboy, obviously. But it's mind-blowing how good it is.
So basically, you got Hellboy, Preacher, and Killer Be Killed. Is that your...
We go in for like individual books. Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen would have to be there as well. So I don't know. In terms of characters and series, it's Hellboy and Usagi. In terms of individual series, like, yeah, Preacher is honestly, it really impressed me. Like I think before I got to that kind of halfway point, and then I think I just took a break from it for some reason and never came back to it. And I read the first volume like a good few times, but I just never went to the end. And I went to the end this time, and it was so good, so good.
Yeah, we read volume 1 for the book club. I think Martin, you enjoyed it. I know the other guys weren't. I think they enjoyed it to an extent, but maybe a bit too far. Some of the stuff, and don't get me wrong, it's too far. Some of the
it's hilarious though. Some of it is absolutely amazing. Like when a guy comes out with like brown shit all over his hand, like and you're just like, what is going on in this world? But I'm amazed by how he is able to get such depravity, but then have such tender moments as well. And that's what really blew my mind, is how he was able to kind of, within the space of like a page, have such a sweet, tender moment and have such a loving relationship between friends and everything, and have such depravity and violence as well simultaneously. Honestly, it blew my mind how good it was.
Yeah, well, I've only read the first 2. Well, they're not. It's not. I think the 2 books, or the one book has made 2 volumes in it.
If you
Like,
go in for like the standard editions that come out now, they
Yeah,
collect
big
two
one, big-
trade paperbacks in
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Well, I've read the first 2 of those. Obviously, four trade paperbacks. Then I've read, and I haven't got the rest to keep me in to buy them.
Honestly, you should. Cause there's a lull a little bit at the end of 4, start of 5. There's a
really is
lull.
5, isn't there? Or is there 6?
There's 6,
6.
and there's a kind of a little bit of a lull, but nothing really off-putting. And yeah, like characters like Cassidy, you love him and hate him and love him and hate him, and you bounce back and forth so effortlessly. Honestly, I couldn't. There's not enough platitudes or compliments I can give to Preacher. It really is amazing.
Do you know the daft reason why I haven't bought the rest? So I went to Florida in last month, end of June, start of July, and I've been watching like the American kind of YouTubers go to Ollie's. Do you ever see Ollie's outlet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
there was always Preacher in Ollie's outlets. So I thought, right, I was going to wait to go then. I'm going to go to these outlets, and I'm going to buy the Preacher books. And I get there, and they did have them. They're all volume 1s or book 1s. I was so pissed. It was like I could have got them dirt cheap, like really like $5 or $6 or something ridiculous they are. And all they had was book 1. I went to 3 different Ollie's. And by the way, Ollie's is a terrible store. Do not take your kids in there because it's just cheap, crappy toys that the kids think they want, and you're trying to tell them no, they're rubbish. It's absolute junk. You buy better stuff in Poundland. But I was looking at their books, and they did have some comic books, just not the ones I was looking for. But
Typical.
yeah.
Is it as bad as Kingdom of Sweets when you go to Kingdom of Sweets in I go to Kingdom of Sweets in Cardiff? Beautiful, colourful
Is that the one you robbed from?
Kingdom of no.
Yeah, we're on to it now.
Version. Yeah. I go to Kingdom of Sweets and I went in there and I was like, oh, what sweets do you want? And there's an entire back wall, and I mean an entire back wall of chocolate penises and vaginas. And it wouldn't be so bad. It wouldn't be so bad, right? If they were like flaccid. No, they're giving us some welly, these guys. Yeah.
Is it detailed as well? We're talking like just straightforward chocolate, or we've got like detail on them.
There's veins.
So tell me this, Chris. have you bought?
No, I took my kids and left. I was like, this is supposed to be a sweet shop.
Do you know the other thing? You just remind me of something else, a wee bit different than, well, slightly similar. But in Florida, there's a shop called, I believe it's called Spencer's, and they sell like rock and roll, like metal band T-shirts and caps and badges and school bag, you know, like really kind of cool, kind of gothic style, but like cool stuff. And I like it, so I'm in there looking for the stuff. But at the back of the room, they have all the toys, you know. And my kids were like just walking down the shop, and I had to stop them. And of course, my 7-year-old's actually quite smart. She's like, "Oh, what's down there?" Like she's obviously aware there's something there. She can't see it. You're trying to guide them out of the shop. Come on, let's get out here, please. And she sees it and laughs at some of the stuff. And I know she's seen some of the big dildos. Let's be honest, what they are.
Yeah.
And she's obviously thinking what they are, but she must. I don't know. She knows whatever. But I'm just thinking, please get out of this shop. This is horrendous, and they should not have that in the open. They should be curtained off or something.
It's so weird. I understand that there's a market for that, but if you advertise a shop as like a sweet shop, and then you walk in there and it's like, well,
that's the thing. There's something morally wrong with that. Like say with this other Spencer's place, it's like they have like Pokemon and like what do you call those like teddy bears all the kids love these days? Squishums or
Squashum? Not Squashum.
Squashmallows.
Squishmallows.
Right. So they have all them. So obviously that attracts the kids into the store, right? And have some Funko Pops, and you know they see all the characters that they like, the turtles, whatever else. And just over there, there's all the battery powered, pneumatic powered, whatever. It's like, what are you doing?
Basically, you're going like this. Do you want some Squishmallows, some Pokemon cards?
That's what I mean. It's wrong. It's morally wrong. But Martin, I think you said you're going some point this year, so just be careful when you go into Spencer's.
Oh yeah, I won't be going to Spencer's. Don't worry.
Yeah,
go on your own. Go on your own and stock up.
But I'm convinced that
big duffel bag.
I'm convinced those those chocolate penises that Chris talks about. I'm pretty certain he's tried one or two of those. That's what I'm saying. If someone bought it as a joke, like a gag kind of present,
I would
I'd eat it.
100% eat it. I'd be like, I'd eat it just because it would make me laugh. The thought of me watching me eat that would crease me. But if I'm being if I'm dad
no.
and
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah,
that, no.
Yeah. Kevin jumped in the chat. Evening, chaps. He says, Kevin, we spoke quite fondly of the last Einharja and how great we think it is that your Kickstarter has been fully funded and backed, and we are all excited about it. And Chris would like to reserve a copy for Thought Bubble. So you're going to Thought Bubble, Chris?
I think I am. Yeah. I'm gonna get there soon enough, hopefully.
Martin, are you going to Thought Bubble?
At the moment, probably not.
Are you going to Thought Bubble, Phil?
I am, but don't tell anybody. I was trying to get a big secret and just show up. Like, look, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I am
You
going.
can still do that because no one's watching.
Yeah, there's score people. One of them is me on my phone, so it's not right. But no, I am going. Well, all been well. I've got it's one of those ones. I've got the hotel booked, but you don't pay for it until you're there.
Yeah.
And luckily, my wife said, because I wasn't going to go, because again, I work 2 jobs now. I work for Every, trying to get the funds back up. But my missus said she would pay for the hotel for my Christmas present, so I would gladly take that. And flight wise, I hope I get flights cheap enough, but see how it goes.
They gotta be that. They gotta be pretty cheap. They can't be too bad.
For the flying the Leeds, yes, but for example, Scott, congratulations, Scott and Emmy, obviously recently married. I priced flights to go to the wedding, and Belfast to Cardiff and Belfast to Bristol were ridiculous prices. Like I'm talking like I could fly to Florida just as cheap.
Really?
It was like £360 for a flight.
Typically, see, Cardiff doesn't let Irish people in anymore. We kind of like keep them a hand distance, big hand.
Why? It's because we can improve your country. You don't want to? Is that what it is?
Let's not go into it. There's reason.
There's reason. Well, I could fly in the Leeds Bradford fairly cheap. So
yeah, Bradford is desperate for.
Yeah, we'll not say for Leeds Bradford if they need me in there. But like I say, the flights are fairly cheap there, and hopefully, all being well, I will be going to Thought Bubble. But I'm 90% there. I'll put it that way. I bought my ticket because I thought in case it sells out. And I also think the Chip Zdarsky announcement kind of sold it for me.
Because you want to get that Avengers book signed.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But yes, I have loads of books for him to sign, but yes, I will get the Avengers book signed. Oh, well done. You can buy your trade paperback and you get that signed as well. I will. And then you can get Kevin's book signed. He's going to keep one aside for you.
Easy. Yeah. This is the thing. He's already made loads of marks in it with all the drawings and stuff. I don't need more.
For Kevin?
Yeah, I don't need more from anyone. The sign thing is weird. I did it last year and I was like, right, is this what you do when you're in a Thought Bubble, get things signed? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, this is weird. Why am I getting scribbles all over my book? I don't care.
Don't get me wrong. I kind of agree. And to the extent when I first went, I got carried away. Not just because I was set free for a weekend with no wife and kids, because I actually ruined my first day because I went out in the first night in the pub, like I was let loose, do what I want, and I racked myself the next day. I felt sick. I actually missed the first day of Thought Bubble. I won't be doing that this year. But aside from that, I took loads of books with me to get signed, like Ram Fee, James Tinian, Scott Snyder, all these guys, like loads of books. Even people like I don't mean to be critical, but Christian Ward, who's DC, I don't even know who that is. He wrote a Batman story. I think. I know the book I got signed was I can't remember what it was, but I don't know who that person is. But I bought all these books to get signed by him.
Why did you do that then?
That's what I mean. I got carried away and I just started bringing looking at the list of people, like who's going and get all these books out. I went on my flight with a full suitcase of books. I maybe got half them signed and carried the other half back. I didn't need to bring them. It's just like I got carried away. But this year I'm not doing that. I'll get a couple of signatures I'll buy some stuff from the independent stalls, and then I'll just enjoy some pints with whoever's there. But I'll not be going too mad. I'll be maybe.
Okay.
But yes. Anyway, we're over the 2.5 hour mark. I try to make under 2 hours.
Well, you didn't bloody achieve it if you tried. You failed.
But it's your fault.
Totally
your fault. I'm taking like 50%. Like I'm over the 50% mark. If you mean. But no, if it was Martin and I, we would have this done in 2 hours. But when obviously we have guests like Chris who like to talk a lot, and last month I had Highland G like to talk. It's like trying under 2 hours is quite tough. But no, we're joking. We do appreciate your time, Chris. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
I will try and get on the ball for next month to try and be more organized, have a better schedule, a regular routine. Like I say, Chris was here this month, Highland G last month. Could be just me and Martin next month. Could be Adam. Could be Scott, Triple G. Could be all of us. I could have a full-on 10-person
orgy.
I was going to say orgy, but that's
that's fine. That's fine. Orgy doesn't mean sexual. I don't think it does.
If you get in the chocolates, then it will.
Yeah.
You should. I'll tell you what, right? If you want to make some entertaining shorts for Instagram and YouTube, right? Buy some of those chocolate fan penises, right? Bring them to Thought Bubble, and we'll all be in Weatherspoons. We'll give them a try.
Oh, right. I got it. We'll do that. We'll do that.
But let me see, how do I end this stream? We're going to go. So from the three of us, thank you very much for watching. If you're watching the replay, comment below what you've read recently, what you're looking forward to in the month ahead.
Adam back, by the way.
What? Oh, I made it back just in time to say goodbye.
Well, we've got to start again now. Put the list back up. Put the list back up. Let's do it for Adam. Come on.
I will do it. He says, RCC, you're planning an orgy, apparently. I didn't realize that was all the Omnifuss was about. That's the thing. We still don't know. That could be what it's about. But thanks everyone for joining us. Watch the replay. Comment below. See you the next one. Don't forget code off_my_shelves at Sci-Fire, as well as code airwaves at Sci-Fire. It helps us all out. Basically, you could just switch between one code and the other.
No.
Chris told you if it's a popularity contest and I pick their favorite, they're going to go with off_my_shelves. So anyway, see you in the next one. We'll have Airwaves back. We'll have Omnifuss back, and who knows? We might have some more, maybe other shows planned in the future. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.